We're no longer playing Fall Guys, okay? That was my last one. I wanted to get back into some more Five Nights FNAF stuff. Plus, I suck at Fall Guys, so that was enough. But I hope you guys had fun. Back to FNAF. Yeah, back to FNAF. We're going back to FNAF. Okay, I hope you guys had fun, though. And just chilled and hanged. I'm ready. I'm ready to get back into it. Hold on. Okay, perfect. I was about to ask FNAF. Yeah, FNAF right here. FNAF right here. All right, guys. Thank you very, very much for hanging out during my break. Let's get back into it. We're in the middle of this one talking about how, Scott came out and it showed up that, they supported President Trump during his campaign and they got canceled for that. So Scott needs to step away and what that means about how people should feel about FNAF, how people should feel about theory. What should people feel anything? There we go. So we're getting back into it. Hi, Coyote. Hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Lilybelle. I love to travel, but I suck at geography. Okay. This is my Funathon day 16. Let's get into it.
Again, because the internet moves so fast and because everyone just hates to read, I never really saw people looking at what he actually said in his response to all this drama. Instead, just jumped to the conclusion of, well, he admitted that he donated to these people, so he needs to be canceled now. And hey, to some people, that's
that is what
just
happened.
Yeah, some of these
that is exactly
is
how
deal breaker.
that shit happens
that is totally
even early
right
on.
To make the call, but to me, I wanted to know more, right? Because I had a feeling that maybe this is tied to the state of American politics. And this is stepping way outside of my comfort zone here on game theory, but personally, I just hate American politics. It's always been a frustrating process to me because it forces you into one of two buckets. Are you red or are you blue? Are you elephant or are you donkey? Are you Republican or are you Democrat? It is a binary choice between two parties, two people that are for these really important jobs, and that's about it. There are no other options.
That was abrupt. Yeah, I didn't have any. Usually I'll do a little break in between everything. Sorry, I made it a really abrupt this time because earlier I used, while I was waiting for the next show, I was using the bathroom. So I didn't need to use the bathroom this time. We're back.
Options in the form of independent candidates and third parties, but because the system is set up the way it is, they don't really stand that much of a chance. And so everyone is always telling you that if you vote for them, you're throwing away your vote. So long story short, most elections just wind up being a compromise. You have to pick and choose whatever your most important issues are for that election cycle, and because no one candidate truly embodies them all, you have to vote for the lesser of two evils, in a sense. There is never this one perfect candidate
which is the absolute
that truly
worst.
Represents me as the voter, and I hate that. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Scott felt like he was in a similar position. So I wanted to look closer at his response, and admittedly, it's a long one, but I think it's important to not overly edit Scott's words in this case, but don't worry, we'll break it down as we go through it. I've debated greatly how best to address this, including not addressing it at all, but with so many people from the LGBT community in the fan base that I love, that's not an option. I'd like to think that the last 7 years would have given me the benefit of the doubt in regards to how I try to treat people, but there I was, trending on Twitter for being a homophobe, getting doxxed, with people threatening to come to my house. All this because I exercised my right and my duty as an American citizen to vote for and support the candidates who I felt could best run the country. For everyone. And that's something that I won't apologize for. Okay, let's break there for a minute. First, as someone who has received very vivid death threats and have had to go into hiding out of fear of my family's life, just because I do a dumb show online where I call Sonic slow, personal attacks and threats are not okay. Never. Period. End of story. Agree or disagree with him for who he chooses to support, fine. Pull your support of him.
It's honestly crazy how much the internet has given us, what good or bad, and that includes some shit like this. It's never okay.
Franchise of his games, absolutely. But harassing and threatening someone's life and his family simply because they supported someone you disagree with makes you no better than the people that you're fighting. That's just the way I feel. And when it comes to giving Scott the benefit of the doubt, like he asks for in this response, honestly, he has that from me. It's easy to overlook, but Scott over the years has donated over $1.2 million of his own money to charity.
Scott called it himself! Ah!
including $50,000 to the Trevor Project,
Oh my
an
God.
organization that is focused on helping LGBTQ youth. Does that necessarily negate the $42,000 that he made in political donations? Again, that is a personal choice for you to make the call on, but I think it at least merits hearing the guy out. Anyway, the quote continues. For those of you who took the time to look, you saw that the candidates I supported included men, women, white people, black people, Republicans, and Democrats. I supported Kimberly Classic in Baltimore because I believed that she really cared for the African American community there and wanted to pull them out of poverty. I believe she could have really made a difference in a time when so many black communities were struggling. She lost, unfortunately. I supported Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat, even though I disagreed with her on several issues, because I felt she would have been a good and fair president. And yes, I supported President Trump because I felt he was the best man to fuel a strong economy and stand up to America's enemies abroad, of which there are many. Even if there were candidates who had better things to say to
I've been told that there are people who, like, I know that my parents always fought because they care about American politics, right? Or at least they care enough about American politics, and they ended up losing a lot of friends because a lot of friends chose to be pro-Trump for that, for like, having a strong stance about what is this?
up to America's enemies abroad.
Yes, to stand up to America's enemies abroad. So that is something that, like, if Scott says like, oh yeah, I can see that happening, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of people who said that was happening.
Of which there are many. Even if there were candidates who had better things to say to the LGBT community directly and bigger promises to make, I believe that their stances on other issues would have ended up doing much greater harm to those communities than good. All of this explanation, I fear, is wasted, as people don't want to discuss with one another anymore. They want endless apologies and submission. People who are expecting those from me will get neither, end quote. Okay.
Listen, just a reminder here, we're talking a lot about politics, but just to say, on this channel and community, we don't talk about politics. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do any of my research because I fucking don't. Okay? I don't do nearly enough research about American politics as I should. I think everybody should do their own research in regards to it and, make their own choices. But just, putting it out there, we're not, just in case, because I know it's starting to get to that point here inside of this video. Okay? We're not going to have any discussions, like full discussions about it.
So now this gets to the heart of the problem that people had with Scott, who he chose to support through his donation dollars. And the list is quite long. If you look at opensecrets.com, 16 candidates specifically singled out for donation dollars, with one Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii, like he called out in a statement, who, in his response, he not only chooses to support, but actually calls out as his first choice of candidate for president. I think this actually merits looking into. It's a bit weird. I'm about to roll into kind of like a mini game theory on political donations, which I don't really love, but hey, if we're doing it, let's do it right, so here we go. So, looking at the timeline of his 2019 and 2020 donations, Tulsi is in fact the first to receive any money from Scott, followed by his donation to Trump.
My bro, are you actually trying to... Okay, I'm gonna skip the rest of this. We do not have to get into a theory of this. My bro, let's go.
All right! New Five Nights at Freddy's book drop. Let's see what's new to talk about in the world of FNAF.
Book drop, but no game drop
you're in
still?
for a scare when Fazbear Entertainment unveils their most twisted creation yet, Sea Bonnies. Small blue fish with rabbit ears. When Mott drinks a tainted glass of water, tremble as they multiply inside his stomach and steal his identity. One cloned human made up of thousands of little blue bunny fish. Nope. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that asks, have you signed my petition to make me the host of Jeopardy yet? I just need about 80,000 more signatures to get to our goal. And whether or not you know or even care what Jeopardy is, just know that your signature on that petition is a way to help support me getting to live out a childhood dream of mine. While also just a huge vote of support to all of your favorite digital creators who often get overlooked and tossed aside by mainstream media. As a great example of that, our petition, when it crossed 200,000 signatures in a week, got covered by one blog. Huge shout out to news.
Honestly, this is true. This is true. I have nothing to say about this whatsoever. That sounds like a book thing for real. This is true. It sucks, right? Did I sign the position? No. But it actually sucks if I ever say that I'm a virtual creator, there's one of two things. I mean, maybe it was worse a year and a half to 2 years ago, right? When this was done. I'm very lucky I'm a VTuber, because if I had a very recognizable face, people automatically assume that I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm a creator, a content creator. I'm just this young, newfangled thing. It's better now, right? Because people are actually hiring content creators for their own companies. But back like a year and a half, 2 years ago, like businesses didn't care. Businesses didn't care that you knew about trends and stuff like that, I feel like majority of the time. They're like, oh, this is just a thing that was going to happen, it's just a fad or whatever. And then TikTok took the world by storm and Scrub Daddy sold a shit ton of fucking Scrub Daddies. And people were like, oh, fuck, I guess we need to, Duolingo literally, like, ended up surviving through this, okay? And they're like, ah, shit. And during, I guess during COVID, too. Wait, no, this is probably pre-COVID or during COVID. Things have changed a lot, but I support him on this.
Just know that your signature on that petition is a way to help support me getting to live out a childhood dream of mine. Well, also just a huge vote of support to all of your favorite digital creators who often get overlooked and tossed aside by mainstream media. As a great example,
because they think we're just fads or whatever, which I get. Some of them are and some of them aren't.
Of that, our petition, when it crossed 200,000 signatures in a week, got covered by one blog. Huge shout out to Newsweek, thank you for recognizing a digital creator's value in the world. Meanwhile, an older school celebrity whose petition took nearly a year to get to the same place got—
I was an evil entity? We're still in No. I mean, like, here, during this time. If this was during COVID. You know what I mean? Like, if this was during COVID or pre-COVID. That's pretty sick. That I was an evil entity,
just saying,
though.
Iniquity in this space, it's a real
I would
thing.
love to be
Anyway,
a
it's not
game
like
show
I'm gonna be
host.
leaving
I
the
love
channels
game
or
shows.
anything like that, if anything were to come of this. So if you have any questions, those are all answered down in the description, along with the link so you can go and sign it. Push me over the goal. I just love to show the world yet again why this community and why digital creators as a whole are worthy of attention and respect. I know you guys are. I'm fighting on all of our behalves, and I'm gonna keep shoving it down people's throats until they start to listen. Anyway, thank you.
Literally me about FNAF. Like, they really shoved FNAF down my throat. Unbelievable.
Thank you so much for your support. Now, on to FNAF. You know the phrase jumping the shark? It dates back to an episode of the classic series Happy Days, which aired in the mid-70s and early 80s.
No?
This show crushed, running for 11 seasons and staying as a top 5 most watched show for 3 straight years. People loved this thing. Anyway, season 5, episode 3. At the peak of the show's fame, they do a special series of episodes where the characters all take a trip to Hollywood. And the cool guy in the show, the Fonz—
Wait, what? I didn't know that guy played the Fonz. I know that guy.
is challenged to test—
Wait, he's in... Oh, hold on. Henry Winkler? No, it's not Travolta. It's Henry Winkler. Yeah, he plays John Ralphio's dad in Parks and Recreation. That's what I was looking up. He plays multiple things, but I first saw him as Dr. Saperstein, Parks and Recreation's John Ralphio's dad. Yeah, Henry Winkler. Oh, that's so fun. How
bravery
cute.
by jumping over a shark on water skis. And as you probably guessed, he does it, complete with swim trunks and trademark leather jacket. It was a moment that was so ridiculous, so over the top, and so dumb that it single-handedly created the phrase that would forever after be used when a series loses all of its sense. At this point, FNAF, it's jumped all the sharks. Just a big old shark sandwich.
No fucking
giant
shit, dude.
tower
We're definitely
of sharks
there
right
already.
There. The only thing that would make this more sharky would be if it suddenly introduced a shark animatronic. They haven't done that yet, right? Okay, well, there's still time. Those Bonnie Guppies getting dangerously close, just saying. But in all seriousness, over in Bookland, the Fazbear Fright series has just released its penultimate installment, and it's weird. Tiny rabbit guppies that steal your identity. A pink substance called Fazgoo that hunts you down and steals your identity.
Okay, but we got Fazgoo already. We knew that.
Animatronics that body swap you in order to steal your identity. Huh, there's a definite pattern in these stories, isn't there?
Identity
Could animatronics
stealing?
stealing identities and humans not actually being themselves be somehow important to the lore of the series?
Could you
Certainly
believe
seems like
that?
the books are beating that point
Wow, what? Really? That's crazy.
over our heads. And honestly,
In my identity steals, in the identity theft, in my FNAF, more likely than you think.
points to a larger trend here. For as crazy as these stories have gotten, and believe me, they've really gone off the rails at this point, there's definitely still merit in them from a lore-solving perspective. Because, as I'm about to show you, for every story about underwater rabbit guppies swimming around in your insides, there's another one or two that get you asking brand new questions about both the past and future of the franchise. So go ahead, take a break from eating your best friend that happened to fall into a vat of pizza sauce, something that yes, also kinda happened in one of these stories, and consider the following 3 theories ripped straight from the pages of the books. Theory number 1, Chica started as a mediocre melody. In Fazbear Fright's book number 9, The Puppet Carver, we're told the story of Jack, manager of a failing pizzeria named the Pizza Playground. Yeah, it's not actually a
How many more failing pizzerias must there be?
Freddy Fazbear establishment. And you see, that's an important detail since every other pizza place in the Fazbear Frights book series has tied back to Freddy's in some way. But for some reason, this one is deliberately different. What's also noteworthy about the Pizza Playground is the restaurant's animatronic band, which, we're told, breaks down frequently. These things are straight up busted. The roster includes a banjo-strumming country pig, a bear creatively named Baron Von Bear, 2 other unnamed creatures that have already broken down, and a, quote, weird bird thing. Now, if the words banjo pig don't jump out to you, well, congratulations, you have a richer and more fulfilling life than I do, because when I hear that phrase, my mind immediately jumps to one thing: the mediocre melodies. The crew of broken animatronic rejects able to be purchased way back in FNAF 6 Pizzeria Simulator. A crew of animatronics consisting of a banjo-playing pig, an off-brand Freddy Fazbear ripoff with a southern accent named Ned Bear, a talkative hippo, a cute young frog, and an
I thought that was just Fredbear. I'm sorry. I thought that was, you know what I mean?
dramatic elephants. They're characters that we all brushed off at the time because they just seemed unaffiliated with anything Fazbear related. And then they came back, returning an ultimate custom night where they collectively gave voice to Cassidy, the one you should not have killed, as evidenced by voice lines like this.
Everyone underestimates me, but then they turn their back and I'm like, boo, and they're like, what?
What?
Sorry, cute
That's not it. That is not. Wait, that's so weird. Wait, hold on.
Cassidy, the one you should not have killed, as evidenced by voice lines
Where's
like
that
this.
actually
Everyone
from?
underestimates me, but then they turn their back and I'm like, boo, and they're like, what?
Sorry, queued up the wrong clip. It's this one.
This is how it feels.
Where is that actually? It's from this game? It's really from
And they're
this
like-
game?
Voice lines like this.
Everyone underestimates me, but then they
Because I don't know what to tell you. I've heard this voice line a million times in different TikToks. Wow. I found the origin. I finally found the origin of this.
turn their back and I'm like, boo, and they're like, what?
Sorry, queued up the wrong clip. It's this one.
This is how it feels. And you get to experience it over and over. I will never let you leave.
You know, it suddenly occurs to me that maybe they were the ones that had to be Cassidy's voice in this game, because he's a spirit who's trapped inside Golden Freddy, a spring-lock suit who was never actually given a true voice box, whereas everyone else in the series was given a voice, at least at some point. Just a thought that I had randomly in the recording booth as I was rereading these lines. Also, Springtrap is able to talk because he has a guy inside of him, so interesting. Anyway, the mediocre melodies, a generic Freddy alternative, a country pig that plays the banjo, unnamed other characters that break down frequently. It seems like Pizza Playground's animatronics are indeed the mediocre melodies, which makes the call out of a weird bird thing being part of the band particularly interesting. Was Chica originally a mediocre melody? Chica has always been a bit of an oddball in the group. For instance, she's the only one to
That's
go
not
missing
in
for a
Sister
game,
Location.
specifically in
Yeah.
Sister Location, when she's the only one of the core 4 to not appear. And if you'll remember all the way back to the teasers for Sister Location, Chica's party world was listed in the source code as a separate establishment away from Circus Baby's entertainment and rentals. We also know that Freddy and Bonnie have been together since their literal golden days, which means that Chica had to have been a later addition to the crew. Maybe she was with another band of animatronics the
Oh
entire
my
time.
God.
I mean, even the theming makes more sense with the mediocre melodies. Something about chicken animatronic wearing a bib just
That actually, yeah, the theming definitely completely looks different.
fits better alongside a farm-themed banjo pig and bear with a southern drawl. Kinda makes you wonder where Foxy the pirate comes in now, huh? Anyway, the reason I bring all of this up is that for a long time I've suspected that Chica is the key to the whole timeline of these games. No joke, I've literally had an email in my inbox for years addressed to myself reminding me to follow the missing Chica, since her coming and going from the lineup seems
one is
important,
now
but
boarding.
until
Welcome
now,
to
I've
Lilybelle
never
Air.
had
Hope you
enough
have a
dots
safe
to
and
put together
enjoyable
in a
flight.
timeline. We've known for a long time that she was the first to get stuffed with the little girl Susie. But now this story potentially...
Honestly, all the voice acting for that, where it's all like staticky, it sounds... Whoa! You know what it sounds like? Oh, fuck. Shit. Ghost Adventures uses this all the time, and people, it like talks through it, and it sounds like that.
Connecting her to the mediocre melodies is yet another piece of evidence that we can use. So if you ever see a video titled "Follow the Missing Chica," you'll know that we finally figured it out. Theory number 2, Balloon Boy solves a lot? Oh boy, it's time I talk about him. I don't know if you've noticed this, but 50 videos into our FNAF series and I haven't talked about Balloon...
Oh my god! What did I say? What did I say? Is chat bear working? Let's see.
Pog Online Poggers.
Yes. What did I say? What did I say? Remember when I said justice for Balloon Boy? Remember when I said justice for Balloon Boy? This is it. This is it. Yeah.
Once. Not a single theory dedicated to that guy. Go back and check me on that, but I've intentionally avoided him. Largely because he doesn't fit anywhere. His
What? Okay, so you've only avoided him because he doesn't fit in your own fucking theories, huh? Huh? Talk about confirmation fucking bias.
Design is different, his behavior is different, he doesn't seem to be possessed by kids, and honestly I've just never had a good sense of what to do with Balloon Boy in the lore of this franchise. Until today, in that same puppet carver story with the mediocre melodies, we're introduced to Porter, the handyman who's supposed to be in charge of the faulty animatronics of the pizza playground. But Porter dreams of bigger things. You see, he's a bit of an animatronics genius, and his plan is to take wood and transform it into something alive. To quote from the story, "I'm almost finished with the prototype of my machine. It will create low-cost but highly functional animatronics made from only an inexpensive slab of wood." And not only is this guy a genius, he aspires to greater things. Quote again, "Once I get a patent on my invention and find a buyer, I'm gonna be out of here so fast I'll leave a dust trail." I mean, taking wood and imbuing it with the ability to move on its own? Yeah, I'd say that's gonna earn you some quick cash. And here's the thing, it works. In the story, we see Porter turn a log into an actual moving character, no remnant or phasgoo required. He flips a switch on its back and it just comes to life. They describe it as resembling the drawing models from high school art class, but specifically call out that were you to put the figure in a fuzzy suit, it would resemble a bunny or a fox or a bear, and you'd have a low-cost animatronic. In short, it feels like this story gives us a lot. First, reading the story felt like reading Henry's origin. A brilliant
good luck,
creator and
Antonio.
animatronic inventor just looking for a buyer to partner up with to launch his career. A buyer maybe named William Afton? Seems to me that Henry was a college engineer with a great idea, and his earliest experiments were in the form of these living wooden dolls. This, in turn,
There are
explains
things in
both
this
Balloon
world we
Boy
will never truly understand. Understand. We want answers.
and the mini-renas. Remember, the book
There are
described his
things
wooden
in
puppets
this
as
world we
resembling
will
the
never
drawing models
truly
from high school art class,
understand.
which, if you're not familiar, are
Understand.
these guys. That is why we have so many living dolls wandering around these pizzerias that don't seem to have spirits inside of them, only able to say basic words like,
Hi. Hello?
in short, Balloon Boy isn't an animatronic, or at least not in the way that we all consider animatronics, as, you know, living
It's
robots with dead basic words under class, which, if you're not familiar, are these guys. That is why we have so many living dolls wandering around these pizzerias that don't seem to have spirits inside of them, only able to say basic words like,
Hi.
my bro. Did he or did Balloon Boy not fucking move and scare you in places? As far as I know, he
in short,
did.
Balloon Boy isn't an animatronic, or at least not in the way that we all consider animatronics, as, you know, living robots with dead children's souls trapped in them, infused with remnant, all that good stuff. Taking it one step further, this might even have timeline implications. Wooden dolls appear in pretty much all the games.
He only stole your batteries. I swear I saw him in a vent.
Can hear me. open up.
I don't know this. He can be an event, but it ain't much. But it's not like he doesn't jump scare. Right?
Thought to be the earliest in the timeline. FNAF 2, of course, with Balloon Boy, but also very heavily in sister location. On the main console, there's a marionette named Little Joe, a doll named the Magician, a gypsy figurine, and a series of human heads. Ennard's mask, Music Man, the mini arenas, Baby, Ballora, even the puppet's face all seem to stem from this era of Henry's creations. It seems to me that the wooden dolls and marionettes were all designed as he was trying to develop the look and feel of the Funtime animatronics, leading up to the eventual opening and immediate closure of Circus Baby's Pizza World. As a reminder, Baby's Pizza World has never actually appeared in a game. Rather, we know that it exists based on hidden website text, and that it was closed down due to a quote-unquote gas leak, which is just PR speak for Afton's daughter getting nabbed by Baby. And the characters got retired down into the basement, which would eventually become Circus
He doesn't
Baby's
jump scare, he
entertainment
just
and
laughs
rentals.
at
The
you?
only
But why? Tell me why he like. Tell me why. Okay, so good. I mean, it's good that he doesn't jump scare, but like now I'm confused as to why they even bothered with a nightmare version of him if he like didn't matter, quote unquote, or whatever.
only game that happens earlier than these two is currently FNAF 4, and wouldn't you know it, that's also the only one without a Balloon Boy appearance. Or rather, a questionably canon appearance, since Nightmare Balloon Boy was in it briefly as part of the Halloween update. Long
Yeah, what are you talking about? Oh my god.
story short, perhaps the appearance of Balloon Boy and the other wooden clown-faced characters marks the start of William and Henry's
Say bye,
partnership.
P.
I know a lot of people tend not to believe me when I say that a lot of evidence points to sister location happening early in the timeline, but I think all of this is yet more fuel to that fire. And while we're on the subject of William, theory number 3,
It's non-canon. It's in 2 games. It's in this game as a Halloween DLC, and it's in the the basically Smash Bros version, like Ultimate Scare Night or something, right?
father. At the beginning of this theory, I made the observation that a huge number of
Is
Fazbear Fright stories have
confirmed
a
not canon by Scott.
theme of identities being stolen. At this point, it feels like it appears once in every book. The other
Because now I'm sitting here and I'm like, in what case then is something also not confirmed canon by Scott? Like, how many more things?
massive theme
Oh,
that keeps
forget it.
recurring
Forget
in
it.
these tales
It's
are
cool. I'ma
single-parent
wait. I'ma
households.
wait
Dads
another-
abandoning
Let's
the
see,
family
this
and
is
just
episode
straight up
42
bad
out of
dads.
57.
Lots
I'ma
and
wait
lots
another
of
10
bad fathers.
10
Up through the eighth
episodes,
book,
okay?
12 of 24 stories feature a single-parent home. Just to run through some quick examples. In the book Step Closer, there are 2 stories that have a dad up and leave the family. 1:35 a.m. is about a foster child that had an abusive foster dad.
Oh,
The New Kid,
Marionette.
another
Okay,
abusive
see?
dad who
So,
left.
I
The
mean,
Cliffs
there we
is about
go.
a single dad losing a son. Breaking Wheel has the character Reed, who has a single dad who's, quote, trying his best. And in the short story What We Found, which is basically just a retelling of FNAF 3, Hudson loses his father when he takes his own life on account of mental illness, only to wind up with Lewis, yet another abusive stepfather. To me, this is not a coincidence. It's the books yet again trying to point our attention to a common theme in the game, that Afton may not be the father that we've assumed he was this entire time. At this
What? What?
This is not a coincidence. It's the books yet again trying to point our attention to a common theme in the game, that Afton may not be the father that we've assumed he was this entire time.
What do you mean?
At this point, we're fairly certain that the orange guy from the FNAF 6 minigame Midnight Motorist is Purple Guy, who is also William Afton.
Are you trying
And
to,
we see-
is he trying to say that Afton's not the best father? Because, like, yeah, no shit. Or are you saying maybe Afton isn't a father? Isn't the father?
that he's far from a caring and compassionate father, banging on doors, yelling at his son, making threats.
No
Shock of all
shit.
shocks, a guy who moonlights by kidnapping kids and running experiments on their remnant soul juice isn't a father you want to go into the backyard and play catch with. Whoa, who would have saw that one coming? But the fact is, the books seem to be alluding to another layer in this, that he isn't actually Crying Child or Elizabeth's biological father. It would explain why Baby in both the Silver Eyes trilogy and Fazbear Frights feels a cold distance from her dad. Not just that he's lost in his work, but that he's not interested in her outside of what she can do for his experiments. That might be why he actually prefers Henry's daughter to his own. It might also explain Afton's relationship with the Crying Child, how we've suspected for a while
Okay, well, this shit is just messy. This shit is What is this, a fucking triangle? Why is he suddenly interested in Henry's daughter?
That Afton might have been running experiments on him, torturing him with animatronics and supervising him with surveillance cameras from his underground office. Taking it one step further, remember that story of Hudson whose dad took his own life? Well, Henry in both Silver Eyes and FNAF World is shown to take his own life. And Hudson in the Fazbear Fright story is a very clear parallel for Michael Afton. So could Michael Afton have started as Henry's son, only to wind up as William's stepson? Think back to the Sister Location cartoon.
Clara, the baby isn't mine.
An undying vampire in purple repeatedly saying, "He's not my son," in between every night of that game. I mean, it is a big swing when it comes to theories, but I think there's at least some interesting parallels there to consider. Supporting this, we've also yet to
I'm
see
sorry, but you're right. That actually, I was always a little confused about this part, about like, okay, he brings this up and it's like, it's not my son, it's not my son, it's not my son. And I'm like, all right, it's pretty fair, wherever theory he puts it in. Because there's no way that he's just doing that for fun.
The Afton household. Now, I've speculated that Bellora's song is about a wife leaving her husband when he can't escape his own grief, but who knows? That song could be related to Henry's grief at the loss of his daughter Charlie. In the original novels, we're shown that Charlie dies, and that Henry loses his mind with grief, leading him to eventually take his own life. What if the line about an empty tomb isn't William's sadness, but rather a song about Henry's? And that in the aftermath of his death, his kids go to William, his partner. Oh yeah, speaking of Charlie, did you know that the puppet's name officially was Coils the Clown for a while? It's true. In the story Jump for Tickets, we're introduced to a character named Coils the Clown who, quote, has a lanky body with lemon and lime stripes. It has...
Okay, that doesn't mean that puppet is necessarily specifically called Coils the Clown. Like, there's multiple names of every other thing. Why does that mean at some point?
Long arms, 3 fingers, and a face that looks like a crescent moon that turns upside down when it's sad. And just like the security puppet in the game, Coils the Clown is canonically responsible for roaming around the restaurant looking for intruders and gets sad when a child dies accidentally on his watch. Again, like everything with all the books, there's definitely some changes that have been made, but the thought of the puppet having an actual name and that name being funny like Coils the Clown made me pretty happy, even though it was a small thing. So there you have it, friends. 3
And even though it's probably not exactly in continuity, but sure.
more theories to chew on down in the comments below and on the Game Theorist subreddit. You can bet that I will be reading all of your thoughts, so make sure you keep them coming. I don't know if any of these will lead to massive lore revelations, but hey, they were things that I thought were at least worthy of calling out and thinking about. And all of this is without even mentioning the stuff that's happening around Security Breach. I mean, have you seen the new images coming out of their secret website? It's pretty terrifying stuff.
Yeah.
Still early days to be sure over there, which is why I didn't want to comment on any of that yet, but you can bet that we're starting to get close to the actual release of a game in this game franchise. FNAF season is upon us yet again, and finally I'll have a game to talk about rather than more books. So stay safe and watch out for any misfiring animatronics tied to security databases. In the meantime, remember, it's all just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. You know, we joke about it a lot on the channels, but FNAF really has taken over my life. I mean, if I'm not gonna scour all 10 Fazbear Frights books for lore the second they're released, then who's gonna? Recently, though, I've been trying to broaden my horizons by consuming content that isn't FNAF related. I know, shock of all shocks.
Nah, impossible. Literally impossible.
I'm actually dipping my toe into the world of modern independent cinema. You know, things like Willy's Wonderland, the Banana Splits movie. Oh, shoot.
Willy's
Well, Haunted
Wonderland!
Pizzeria inspired or not, today's sponsor, NordVPN.
Alrighty, next one. Is that the next
Bit by
one?
bit, we've
Shit,
been working
is
to
this the right
solve
one?
Security Breach before its launch. And so far, I feel pretty darn good about what we've concluded.
Hold on, is that, let me see
reappearance of
real quick
glitch
if that's the right one. Hold on. Yes, I think this is the right one.
Trap and the dual
Okay.
nature of Vanny seem all but confirmed. The repurposing of the toy animatronics still feels very much possible. Even some of my bigger swings have wound up being home runs.
Huh! Well, that's explicit. Real quick, Music Man FNAF. There's a couple like evidence pieces or like loose threads that I keep in the back of my head and hold it until a point where it becomes useful. Music Man is one of those. So to suddenly see a character with
Music Man is one of those, but Balloon Boy was just not fitting in there, huh?
6 legs and clown gloves, this is the closest thing that connects. I would assume, because anything that usually has a lot of legs like this is able to climb walls and climb ceilings, I wouldn't be surprised to see this be attacking you from the ceiling or a wall.
3 weeks later.
I will help you
Oh my God. Yeah,
I
that's
called
definitely
it.
Music
Let's
Man.
go! Music Man!
So we've talked about the villains, we've talked about the animatronics, we've talked about the plot. Today, with a month left before release, it's time to talk about how this whole thing is gonna end. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that critics describe as
Still surprised that this says a year ago, and even though it rounds down, like even a year and a half ago, we have not had it come out? We have not had the game come out, or have we?
Fantastic. Before we begin, a quick reminder that 1 week from today, Tuesday, November 30th, is our big and final charity live stream benefiting St. Jude. It is the single biggest YouTube collaboration of the year. 50 creators across 9 hours. We have everything from Markiplier doing trumpet solos and Dawko doing contortions to Corpse Husband reading children's books and Dream getting dunked on in Squid Game.
This is so awkward for me because Corpse Husband, for me, I put people that I know into little groups. Obviously, they all, you know, humans aren't just in groups, but like, let's say we go to, okay, like a school. If you went to fucking content creator school, certain YouTubers would sit with other certain YouTubers, all right? And I only know Corpse Husband in a way that's more related to VTubing than like being a YouTuber. So it's weird for me to hear a whole other person who's in another table, lunch table, that I don't know, talk about Corpse Husband. Even though, right, that's how I feel, okay? Even though it's all just mishmashed together. Content creators are content creators. It just feels that way, which is funny.
Clips of an old Freddy Fazbear cartoon called Freddy and Friends on Tour. These 4 uploads, styled like an old Hanna-Barbera cartoon like 1969 Scooby-Doo or 1958's Yogi Bear, have been a huge source of information about this upcoming game, with each one hiding a frame or two screenshot of an existing animatronic in the middle of the episode, as well as the more focused reveal of a new animatronic towards the end. So, hidden in the middle of episodes, you see glitches showcasing Chica, Roxy Wolf, Monty Gator, our security guard from the game's first teaser, but now with yellow eyes, and these creepy bots, which we later learned
Yellow eyes?
in the game's trailer, appear to be the service bots that are wandering around the Security Breach's mall complex. Meanwhile, at the
That's some puppet-looking eyes.
end of each video, you had the reveal of the Sun and Moon guy, Evil Vanny, and of course,
Music!
I can only relate Corpse with Valkyrie and Toast. So, Corpse, Valkyrie, and Toast, still in association with me, is on an offline TV table, right? And the offline TV cafeteria table is right next to a VTuber cafeteria table for me, all right? It's just because I knew about them after
I'll
I
take that as a no
became...
on pulling my hair. Shame. Minus 10 minutes though.
Thank you, Benzo. Thank you for the biddies. I appreciate it. Thank you. Man, me not responding to like one of the chats and Benzo's immediately like, ugh, you haven't spoken to me. Why? Why aren't you paying attention to me? No, I'm just kidding. What was I saying though? Yeah, so Corpse, Valkyrie, and Toast. Because I mean, I know Corpse isn't in Offkai, but Valkyrie and Toast are, or not Offkai, sorry, offline. I know Valkyrie and Toast are in offline, but Corpse is obviously closely related to them, right? And then I only knew about all of them after I became a VTuber. And I knew, you know, like I got the chance to hang out with Skara, aka from offline also, by being a VTuber. So the rest of this for me, I like don't put in at the same like lunch table, which is funny.
Man!
there's even the reintroduction of Glitch Trap, who in the final video can be found by piecing together the upload's 20 purple and yellow glitches kind of like a puzzle. Probably one of the coolest ideas for a teaser reveal that I've ever seen, and honestly, just a really smart callback because based on the YouTube description for these.
Thank you, Cowboy. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Oh, God. terrible to know.
Videos,
Terrible
these
to
things
know.
are coming from the Fazbear Entertainment Archive. And what are we doing with these old tapes? We're assembling them. Just like we saw with FNAF VR, where assembling the tapes also assembled Glitch Trap. So yet again, we assemble a series of tapes, the glitches get stronger, upload after upload, and boom, Gold Bunny make people go bye-bye. I don't know if they meant this intentionally or not, but still, cool detail. And then just a couple weeks ago, the actual trailer came out and confirmed a lot of what we were seeing. There's all the animatronics, there's the creepy service bots, there's Music Man! We know basically everything that's in this game because we've seen basically everything that's been teased. Well, except for one thing. Through all the reveals and teasers and trailers, one thing remains a mystery. There is still one teased item that hasn't been revealed, and that is a tentacle monster. You heard that right. At the end of Fazbear
Hey, yo, tentacle monster, let's go.
and Friends Episode 1, we get this, a sliding tentacle slithering across the screen. And you know it's a big deal because it's
That doesn't look like tentacles to me. Those look like pipes, dude.
a sliding tentacle
That,
slithering across the screen.
for me, that looks like, I don't know, videos of pipes?
And you know it's a big deal because it's simultaneously the first thing they tease, but also the last thing that they're keeping secret. In fact, based on details from the trailer, as well as new clues that have come to light in other parts of the FNAF universe, I not only think I know what that is, but also the whole ending sequence of this game. This one is a bit
Okay, that's a reach. I know for sure that'll start being reaches because he's really saying from just this alone, I know exactly how Security Breach is going to end. Listen, Matt, I've seen enough parts of you doing this to know.
biggie and feels like once again I am swinging for the fences. But if it proves to be true, well, let me tell ya, I'll be even more excited than this. Music Man! And speaking of things that get you more hyped than seeing your favorite reject animatronic make his triumphant return, let me just remind you that new FNAF wear and Theory wear are available right now.
Amazing! Nice.
Long, slimy black tentacles, and that is Nightmarion, the nightmare puppet, who came out as part of the Halloween update for FNAF 4 way back when I still had hopes that this series would end with 4 games. Oh, what a fool I was. And who we more recently saw in FNAF VR's Night Terrors minigame. This thing is like a hentacle that is just waiting to happen. Probably a hentacle.
Oh my god! Holy shit!
Night Terrors minigame. This thing is like a hentacle that
Yeah, girl, let's go! She's here! But also, okay, yeah, that's definitely tentacles. Never mind. This is definitely tentacles.
is just waiting to happen. Probably a tentacle that's already happened, to be honest, but I dare not look in that direction. So when you see a tentacle sliding across a staticky screen, immediately your mind is gonna jump to this character.
Yeah,
and from a
that
story
definitely
standpoint,
seems
this
like
would
it is.
also make some level of sense. I mean, William Afton is back in the form of Glitch Trap, so presumably the puppet, this protector of lost souls that stands opposed to him, would try its best to come along for the ride too in an effort to thwart him once more. One problem with all this though, Nightmarion isn't canon. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's complicated. Go figure, it's FNAF. Big surprise there. You see, Nightmarion's original appearance in FNAF 4's Halloween update is not canon. Something
You'll off. Oh.
confirmed by Scott a
I see
long time
now.
ago before that DLC launched. Its appearance
The
in
second release. Hold on.
canon. Something confirmed by Scott.
The second release will be a special Halloween edition of FNAF 4 with a few changed characters and other cosmetic changes. This game is not canon and is only for fun for the holidays. This version will be free as well. Yeah, remember that, you bitch, sitting down. I never want to, Matt, sit. I do not want to hear you talk about the Halloween versions of the fucking masks ever again and tossing it into a fucking timeline.
Got a long time ago before that DLC launched. Its appearance in FNAF VR, on the other hand, is canon, but not in the way you think. This is because FNAF VR is itself a video game produced by Fazbear Entertainment, so Nightmarion in the world of FNAF is no better than Mario, or Master Chief, or a Slender Man. It's a video game character, and as far as we know, that's it. It's not an actual active part of the real-world lore in that universe. And you see, it's the lore that provides us another problem here. Canonically, Basically, the puppet is burned away. Its spirit is released in the fire that happens at the end of Pizzeria Simulator. And unlike Afton, who created a digitized version of himself hidden in a video game, something tells me that the puppet wasn't coding C++ in between giving gifts, giving life. As the last nail in the coffin here, the tentacle that we see at the end of Freddy and Friends is missing its signature white stripes. Are there ways to bring the puppet back? Sure, Puppet Mask didn't fully burn away and was found in the wreckage of the FNAF 6 pizzeria, so it's still infused with the agony of Charlie in order to fight against Afton one final time, whatever. But honestly, I think there's evidence to suggest a better candidate for that tentacle, Baby. So the final Fazbear Frights book just came out, number 11, Prankster, and with it came the chance to look back across the whole collection and analyze what Easter eggs were there to help solve the game lore. One big takeaway from the series, we now absolutely know what was inside the FNAF 4 box.
way.
It was a person. Don't at me about this one. This is undeniable.
I'm gonna at you already, because if you say anything about how inside the book they say the person is inside the box, I have to remind you that the book is not continuity, doesn't relate to the games technically.
At this point, and nothing you say is gonna change my mind about it. Here's why. In Prankster, we get this line during the finale, quote, Jake had found the real homeless girl that Eleanor replaced. As a quick aside here and reminder, Eleanor is this book's stand-in for Baby. The real girl had been locked in a trunk in the abandoned building where Jake had originally found Eleanor. Now, this one instance alone wouldn't be enough to make me 100% sure about this, but they repeat it twice. Earlier in this same stretch of like 20 or so pages, the exact same thing happens again, only this time it's Eleanor that's locked in the box waiting to pop out. And if those two times weren't enough for you, in the final FNAF novel, The Fourth Closet, Baby hides a person inside of a large chest and then goes to steal their identity. Quote from this book, John moved to a large green chest, the paint almost entirely worn off. There was no lock. John knelt beside it, found the handle and heaved it open, then shuddered, falling back and pushing himself away. Jessica, he gasped, moving back to the chest and leaning over it. Jessica, what, John? I'm trying to listen. It's Charlie, he said hoarsely, in the chest. So 3 times in the various books of this franchise have we opened up a chest to find some person resting.
Boo! 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 Boo!
Inside. That alone would be enough to be a trend, but the similarities in these situations continue. Not only does this very odd and very specific thing happen in both Fazbear Frights and the Silver Eyes novels, but both times the person inside the box is Charlie the puppet, or whatever.
I don't feel like it's a cop-out, because this is just Matt's. Nope, yeah, why not? Why not? Why not? You know what? That's a cop-out. That's a fucking cop-out. Cop the fucking out. There's no fucking way. It's not even fucking close. You're doing a fucking cop-out, Matt.
Whatever her equivalent is in that universe. In The Fourth Closet, it's Charlotte,
It's okay.
daughter of the
I don't
genius
even care.
animatronic inventor Henry, who tragically loses his...
If it wasn't for this one, I definitely already missed it in the last few episodes of doing a cop-out. I promise.
Young girl and then tries to rebuild her using robots. And over in Fazbear Frights, the homeless girl in the box is named Renelle. Stop me if this starts to sound familiar, but she's the daughter of genius inventor Dr. Talbert, who tragically loses his young girl and then tries to keep her alive by inventing Remnant. I'm just saying, whether you like it or not, it just seems like the books are trying real hard to tell us the solution to this one. And that's not a theory. That is me just literally calling attention to a repeated pattern in the books. Anyway.
No, hun. I mean, yeah, but that's what all your theories are, right? That's what all of your fucking theories are, dude. Is calling out patterns. So, yeah, it is a theory, buddy.
With the final Fazbear Fright comes the ending to the Stitch Wraith story that I've been yammering on about for the better part of 2 years. And for good reason. This one story, told in short chunks at the end of each novel, has contained some of the biggest lore reveals of any piece of media this franchise has ever produced. It was this story that really strengthened my belief in Golden Freddy having 2 souls inside of him. It's also the one that gives us that scene that we just talked about with the box. It even has a lore dump in the final pages where they just outright define what Remnant is. So that's why it really caught my attention when Baby started to do something that was completely out of character, shooting long black tentacles out of her body. Quote from the book, her eyes bulged, black tentacles shot from her mouth, from her fingers, from her toes. The slimy black vines climbed up the walls. It slithered over the floor. Tentacles flew from her and wrapped around his face. Yeah, that's new. So we have ourselves Baby, an animatronic that can transform into a believable copy of any person, now also able to erupt into blood tentacles. Yeah, the tentacles are made from black blood.
Apparently, Baby could do fucking anything. So, anybody could do anything. We all have visual discs, right? So, fuck it.
Sorry if I didn't mention that before, but yep. But there's another reason I think Baby's our tentacle monster. It's because I think she's actually our big bad of the game. The one who is really pulling the strings here. You see, back in April, I did 3 short mini-theories on Security Breach, with one focused on exactly this topic, the return of Elizabeth Afton. At the time, it was a mini-theory for a reason. It was just a hunch with a teeny bit of evidence. But now, that evidence is starting to pile up faster than dead bodies in a
Dragon
pizzeria.
Knight.
And
Have a good one,
understand
dear.
why
Thank you.
we have to make one more trip to the books. At the midway point of our Stitch Wraith story, we have our Golden Freddy spirit stand-ins having to equip themselves with the puppet mask in order to fight against a giant 15-foot trash rabbit called the Afton Amalgamation. You're not stroking out, friends. That is the unironic words printed onto real paper and produced en masse for readers to consume. You hear that? Shakespeare is rolling in his grave as we speak. Basically, Afton's spirit had possessed a lot of different objects, and those all fused together with trash in order to form a giant garbage Godzilla.
I kind of love this. I like this. This is fucking funny.
Back when I wrote that theory, I had this to say. I am not gonna sit here and say that we will at some point in this series be forced to fight a giant trash bunny possessed by a serial killer. But now, 7 months later, things have changed. And yeah, I am gonna sit here and say that we will at some point in the series be forced to fight a giant trash bunny possessed by a serial killer. Yep, the series about pizzeria-themed murders has decided that giant garbage rabbit kaiju is the next logical step in the story that they feel it wants to tell. I am so tired. Now, if this was a normal FNAF game, then no. Of course.
I was like trying to see if we could tie this in with Stitch Wraith at all, because Stitch Wraith is going around and basically trying to put together all these trash and parts and bits, but
Of course, there's no giant trash monster.
I don't know.
But this is
I'm
anything
waiting.
but a normal
I'm literally just waiting for the next like 10 episodes.
FNAF game. First, we know that Security Breach will have boss battles.
This is it. Remember when I said we're grieving, right? We're in the grief process, and earlier it was bargaining. This is depression. This is it. This is this part of the depression part of the grieving part.
This is confirmed on the PlayStation blog article covering the game. And if these moments of Monty Gator from the trailer don't look like a boss battle intro sequence, then I don't know what does. Reminds me of the American Gladiators game Assault. We also know that the game's primary mechanic is climbing into Freddy's oversized birthday cake hatch to pilot him around like a mech suit. You don't just include a mecha suit like that in your game if all you're doing with it is stealthing around a mall. You insert that sort of stuff in order to punch serial killers in the face. But you know what seals the deal for me is the trailer.
hiding,
Throughout the
at
Freddy and
least.
Friends teaser images, we've seen pictures of the animatronics all cracked and broken. Are they corrupted by
Oh,
Afton? Maybe
but Freddy's not here.
we destroy them over the course of the night. It's a weird little detail. But then the trailer goes and shows us a bit more. We see this scene of a broken Chica that's attacking us in a tunnel made from garbage. Now that is a bizarre setting for a game that's set in a mall, and according to the PlayStation Store, the sewers underneath the mall. Trash is just everywhere. So is this the game that's finally given us what we've all been demanding? Hashtag justice for trash in the gang? Or is it something more? Remember
How dare you, okay? They're not called
demanding
trash in the
hashtag
gang.
justice
all
for
right?
trash
They
in the-
have names. You fuck. They have names. I don't know them, but they do, okay? There were some of my earlier friends.
gang? Or
God.
is it something more? Remember what I said about the broken version of the animatronics that we keep seeing in the trailers? Well, one of the main components of Trash Afton are the pieces and parts of other ruined animatronics. I wouldn't be surprised if the final boss battle of the game is against a giant amalgamation of all the other animatronics combined, which in turn strengthens the baby theory. You see, in the books, yet again, Trash Afton is described as weak. In fact, it's so important that they decide to say it twice. First in book 6, and then again in book 11. 11. In reality, it's actually Eleanor that's powering the whole thing. So if we do in fact descend down into a landfill to fight a giant trash rabbit kaiju, the one really pulling the strings will be the black blood tentacles of the shape-shifting baby. But there's one last thing worth mentioning, and that's this game's return to the first ever pizzeria, Fredbear's Family Diner. Dawko recently did a live stream to benefit our St. Jude campaign. Dawko, you're an amazing and wonderful person. Thank you for your support. But whenever there's a Dawko charity stream, you know that close behind is gonna be some FNAF teasers. And Steel Wool did not disappoint. They sent him a series of posters, including these 3 from Fredbear's Family Diner.
Wait, that's actually so good for marketing. I hope they sold that. Firstly. Secondly, wow, can't believe it. Matt still doesn't get anything. Dawko and Steel Wool are literally like kissing each other, okay? Fucking Mark and Scott are kissing each other. And Matt, you get Stephanie and your child, I guess.
The original pizzeria mentioned way back in FNAF 2.
I'm gonna try to contact the original restaurant owner. I think the name of the place was Fredbear's Family Diner or something like that. It was closed for years.
But how, after all the... I don't know. It's just confusing to me. We're 16 minutes into this 20-minute episode, and you still have to literally teach me that Fredbear's Family Diner is a real diner that was mentioned inside of the FNAF games from like 5 years ago. Is that what you're telling me? You think that 16 minutes in, 16 minutes into a fucking FNAF? You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm fucking saying? Like 16 minutes in, and you still think I don't know some basic ass shit like, hey, by the way, this was confirmed from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. There's a thing called Fredbear's Family Diner. And I'm like, 16 minutes into a game theory video about the newest FNAF game. Even if you waited 3 months between episodes, let me tell you that shit. Even if you waited 3 months between episodes, you watched the other episodes. The 9 million other episodes, okay, that had mentioned Fredbear's Family Diner already. Take your audience. Just take your audience, Matt. Really, think about the audience who watched through all 16 minutes of this. You didn't explain who Puppet was, again, all right? Even though you definitely could have. You didn't explain through who the fuck this bitch is, okay? This bitch is, all right, the purple man, a.k.a. William. You didn't explain through that shit. You didn't even explain through who Freddy is or who Charlie is, all right? And Charlie's one of the most confusing things of all fucking time. Because of the books, apparently. All right? But Fredbear's Family Diner?
From Fredbear's Family Diner. The original pizzeria mentioned way back in FNAF 2.
I'm gonna try to contact the original restaurant owner.
Yeah, no shit!
It was closed for years.
Considering game developers don't have the bandwidth to spend a lot of time on artwork that isn't getting used in your actual game. What's even weirder, though, is that the new Freddy...
I don't know. Would be sick merchandise.
Teasers also revisit what appears to be the first pizzeria in episode 2, based on the building's small
Chica's
size,
there.
red and white striped awnings, and wooden interior. But all of that, coupled with the descent into a landfill-looking area, leads me to believe that the mall is built on top of the original Fredbear's Family Diner location. We've actually seen a lot of this before throughout the series. In both Sister Location and the Twisted Ones, we have large underground warehouses breaking into
Okay,
its
moving
locations,
on.
door towards Security Breaches Mall in the middle of being constructed. Long story short, there is a constant running theme of old places being connected to and buried under new flashier establishments.
I know.
So us going down a trash tunnel in the trailer, passing old wrecked versions of the animatronics, we have to be headed somewhere. Why not the first ever location, where Glitch Trap would be at its strongest, would be able to be resurrected into the nightmare hand that we saw at the end of the first teaser, notice those fingers, and eventually form into the trash monster that we fight. So that, my friends, is the wild prediction I have for the final act of this game. You descend into the sewers and eventually wind up in tunnels of trash under the building, which eventually leads to the site of the first ever diner, Fredbear's family. Here, where his powers are strongest, Glitchtrap leaves Vanny's body and regains his own. We hop into our Mecha Freddy for a boss battle to knock him around a bit, and desperate, he absorbs all the ruined animatronics and trash around him. We destroy him yet again, only to reveal the black tentacles. It was Baby all along. Cue the next game and subsequent 20 installment book series. But hey,
That's kind of funny.
these animatronics may be horrifying, but not everything that's made of metal has to be. That's where our sponsored Displate comes in. Their
Okay.
metal post. After years of waiting, Five Nights at Freddy's security breach has finally launched, and with it, we now have a whole load of mysteries to discuss. What's the deal with the Vanny therapy tapes? Why is this room from sister location?
Wait, what?
Security breach has. After years of waiting, Five Nights at Freddy's security breach has finally launched, and with it, we
did it! We finally got here! We finally got to security breach. Let's go.
now have a whole
We got to security breach on number 44 out of 57 episodes. Holy
whole
shit.
load of mysteries to discuss. What's the deal with the Vanny therapy tapes? Why is this room from sister location in the Pizzaplex? Who is the best animatronic, and why is it Music Man? There are a lot of things to solve in this massive. Why
Okay,
is it?
but tell me
Sister
why.
location
Tell me why.
in
Hold on.
Pizzaplex. Who is the best animatronic?
Tell me why they are all posed in the coolest fucking pose
And
of all times. Like, this is they all look so sexable. They all look so fucking fuckable. Holy shit.
why is it Music Man? There are a lot of things to solve in this massive game. Lore hides
any
behind
of
every
them,
pirate
dude.
poster
What are
and
they
inside
called?
every
Lamb
arcade cabinet. But the theory I have
Lamb
today
Freddy?
goes
Is
to
that
the
what it
heart
is?
of this game, addressing the one character that we spend a lot of time with, but don't actually see all that much. And that's our main character of Security Breach, Gregory. Yep, in a franchise full of dead kids, I want to focus on the first ever living child we've seen in the main story of the games, except for in the Fruity Maze minigame, but we all know that she ends up dead. Who is Gregory? What is Gregory? And why is he such a cold-hearted savage to Roxy and the rest of the animatronic gang? I'm so mad that you're driving without my permission.
Wait, what is it? Sorry, hun. I was looking at something. My bad. Hold on.
And inside every arcade cabinet. But the theory I have today goes
Those
to the heart of
animatronics?
this game.
Yeah.
Addressing the one character that we spend
They
a
serve
lot
a
of
cunt
time
as hell.
with, but don't actually see all that much. And that's our main character of Security Breach, Gregory.
Let's
Yep,
go,
in a franchise
Greg!
full of dead kids, I want to focus on the first ever living child we've seen in the main story of the games, except for in the Fruity Maze minigame, but we all know that she ends up dead. Who is Gregory? What is Gregory? And why is he such a cold-hearted savage to Roxy and the rest of the animatronic gang? I'm so mad that you're driving without my permission.
Ooh! Let's go!
Oh my gosh! Gregory is brutal. My friends, the answers to those questions will recontextualize
Greg
everything
got that dog in
thought
him, you know what I
knew
mean?
about this series. So let's
Greg got the dog in him. Not only that, but like, he has the ability to not be dying right now. Hey, modern kids are built different. Modern kids don't get scared by nothing, dude. They just know survival, and that's it. Are you an American modern kid? Are you an American child who grew up in the American school system during modern times? Then you know exactly what happens when some kid tells you to go to the bathroom during school and not to come back. There's no way we would be, I'm just saying.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show that can't help but stuff its face with FNAF lore like Chica stuffs her face with pizza and garbage. I guess at this point it kind of applies to us too. Anyway, if you want to stuff your YouTube feed with FNAF videos, then hit that subscribe button right now.
No!
Because today starts what I expect to be a 3-part series into the many unsolved.
Did you guys actually hear that? Did you hear of that story? There's a girl, I think on TikTok, who was telling us, who was telling her audience, right, that she was speaking to her boyfriend who grew up in Korea, And her boyfriend from Korea saw something on Reddit, like Just American Things. Not obviously, it doesn't say Just American Things or something. One of the subreddits, like things that Americans know. You know, it's like an American subreddit. It's like things that are specific to America too. And the guy, the boyfriend, turns around and asks his girlfriend, like, what does this mean? And it's the story. Literally just, do you guys know what is your automatic assumption when a kid that's sitting next to you tells you to go to the bathroom and not to come out? Like, not to come back to the classroom. What do you think that means? And like the girlfriend who's born and raised in America is like, oh man, fuck, you know? And obviously the Korean born and raised boyfriend was like, what the fuck does that mean? Yeah, like we all know what that means if you're American, I feel like. Or if you're around American internet stuff all the time, right? You're around NA servers. You know what that shit means, okay? But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why Gregory got that dog in him, bro. Fuck yeah.
Mysteries of security breach. I mean, on the surface, the game seems pretty self-explanatory, right? Survive being trapped in a mold.
Wait, hold on. I need to open this shit up real quick. Before we get into it, for real, I want to see this. Because, you know, for non-sexy reasons.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Fazbear Entertainment would like you to put your hands together for the one, the only, Freddy Fazbear.
Yeah, they all look so good. Oh, shit. I want to kiss all of them. And now I definitely understand the thing behind Glam Rock Freddy. I definitely fucking do. Oh my god. Yeah. What the fuck? Did he just wink at me? He just winked at me, my bros. Yeah, my girl Chica! Go for it! Damn. All right, have a good one, Rolo. Thank you so much. Good luck to your phone. Look at him, he's so cute! Montgomery Gator! Roxanne Wolf! Glam Rock Chica! Why the fuck are you here? Freddy Fazbear! What the fuck is this? Get the fuck out of my fucking way! I don't even have a little X I can press on it. If I open it, can I close it? Shit. You bitch! Ah, man. Ah, dude. Cucked, bro. Honestly. Settings. Annotations? Is that what it is? No, that's not it. Is it? No, that's not it. It's not annotations. Unbelievable. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay.
CNG Rolo is now boarding. Welcome to Lilybelle Air. Hope you have a safe and enjoyable flight.
I know the video uploader put it there, but like, at least give us some time afterwards instead of putting it right there. You know what I'm saying?
For one night. Looks
Come
like
on,
the new
what is
team
this?
forgot to
Fucking amateur hour out here. You ever heard of Axel? Axel would never do some shit like that.
the title of the franchise. But that's nothing. That's easy. Once you start looking into secret rooms, secret tapes, secret endings, secret minigames, and actually bother to read all the emails and item descriptions, you learn that there is a lot more here. Stuff that looks both backwards at the series that came before and forwards into what is coming next. Stuff that, quite frankly, I'm still working on piecing together. This is a big game.
Or maybe nah.
with lots of places to hide things. But
Or just
today,
simply
I want to focus
don't.
on a mystery that I do feel like I have a pretty solid handle on. The relationship between Gregory and Glamrock Freddy. What's the deal with this random kid, and why is a killer animatronic suddenly trying to help him? Like seriously, the game kicks off with this incredible cutscene. Everyone is living their best 80s-tastic lives on stage before Freddy suddenly glitches out and smash cut to Gregory just being there, I guess. It is one of the weirdest, most jarring intros to a game ever. And then from that point forward, we're just expected to assume that everything is perfectly normal, no explanations necessary. So I'm here to give you
Yeah, that sounds like some FNAF shit.
that explanation, because I strongly
Why?
suspect
No explanations necessary, you just said, my bro.
that this boy is not a boy, and this robot is not a robot, and that the story of their relationship is one that's trying to make amends for one of the earliest and most pivotal points from this entire franchise. To begin, let's establish what we do know about Gregory in order to piece together the rest. So, what does the game offer us in terms of his backstory? Nothing. First and foremost, we know that he's pretty much off the radar. At the start of the game, Freddy does a quick scan only to realize
Your guest profile is unknown to me.
Similarly, when security guard Vanessa is chatting it up with Freddy, we hear this part of their conversation.
That is great news. He can be returned to his parents.
He can't. Turns out there's no record of him.
Clearly, Gregory is not a guest at the
that's
Pizzaplex. It
interesting.
also seems like he has nowhere else to go. In the game's bad ending, unlocked by just leaving the building at 6 a.m., we see Gregory winding up in an alleyway sleeping in a cardboard box. He appears to be homeless. He's an orphan. This then explains
Whoa, that's crazy. Isn't leaving, like, supposed to be, okay, I survived? That's interesting.
a few other
Holy
things that we
shit,
see around the
Bento.
Pizzaplex. In
Congratulations.
a
That's amazing. Holy fuck.
couple of hidden locations around the building, we find little dens that are filled with drawings, plushies, and beds. The most notable one being the one behind the daycare center. Gregory seems to be living inside the Pizzaplex,
What the fuck?
which would explain his lack of a guest pass. We can't even be sure that his name is Gregory. In the game's opening scene, Gregory has no issues speaking to Freddy.
Will you shut up?
Who said that?
I did.
However, once Freddy asks him for his name, he stutters.
I'm Gregory.
Why would he stutter on his name when
That actually, yeah, no, that sounds like someone who is about to pull a name out of their ass.
he was clearly fine answering everything else just seconds before? So, what? Is that it? Gregory's just some homeless kid that sets up shop in the Pizzaplex and happens to get wrapped up in Afton and Vanny's plans? Yeah, right. Of course not. Nothing in this franchise is ever an accident. Take a look at Gregory here. Notice anything familiar? Dark eyes, brown hair with a piece fallen between
I mean, those eyes aren't really that dark, but okay.
his eyes, shorts, a shirt with 2 stripes across the middle. Ladies and gentlemen, Gregory is none other than the crying child. Don't believe me? Early on, we get this weird moment when Freddy suddenly stops what he's doing and says this.
I feel you are broken.
We all know that the language in this franchise is never chosen by accident. Everything is meticulously crafted, so is it a coincidence then that the word broken is only used one other time in the
Ooh, I'm gonna put you back together?
FNAF series to describe a child? That iconic FNAF 4 clip with crying child and golden Fredbear, you're broken, we're still your
Do
friends.
you remember
I
your
will
name?
put you
Oh my
back
god,
together.
Bento,
The
that's
fact
a
that both
good
crying
fucking
child
one.
and Gregory look alike and are considered to be broken screams of a connection existing between these two.
To be fair, this is pretty fair so far. Like, if it's not necessarily... I mean, obviously, this thing's alive. This child is alive. That's interesting. But, like, you know, reincarnation type-wise, it's very interesting.
Him being the crying child would also explain why he has nowhere else to go. His dad is an undead
Everybody's
zombie
fucking
living
gone.
inside a yellow bunny suit, and his mom is MIA. There's also lines like this.
Your parents want you to follow me. Your family is looking for you. Let me take you to your parents.
On one hand, this just sounds like Chica spouting out some generic security protocol. On the other hand, if indeed Gregory is the crying child, Chica's lines here take on a whole new meaning, because she is quite literally bringing him to his family, his father living in the basement, William Afton. But obviously there's one big problem with this.
Where's Ballora then, the quote-unquote mother?
that I'm sure all of you are screaming at your monitors or typing aggressively down in the comments.
He's dead!
Crying child is dead. He died in FNAF 4 when his older brother Michael picked him up to be chomped. And not only did he die, his soul then went on to be one of the two spirits possessing Golden Freddy, the other being the vengeful spirit Cassidy, before he was finally put to rest by the puppet in the happiest day ending of FNAF 3. This kid is well and truly gone. He is removed from the franchise.
I feel like
He is one of the few cards that are officially
I should let it go. I should hear it before I criticize it.
off the lore table. So why then do I dare invoke his name here? Because Gregory is a robot, a rebuilt
The idea of reincarnation, right? The idea of reincarnation has been around for hundreds of years. Like so many, literally so fucking long. It's been in the texts of a million different religions. Like, it makes more sense to him to say this is a robot than to say it's like a reincarnated version so that we can play the game and be, familiar with the concept of this child already. Like, anyways, warning for the cop-out alarm. This is a fucking cop-out. Like, this is, I'm confused. Like, this is how I know this man is not, how have you not thought of the idea of reincarnation before that? What does that even mean? Like, I'm sorry. You're copping out. That's a fucking cop-out. You're copping. Dude, the amount of fucking copium.
Version of the crying child. Flame shields activate because it's time for everyone's favorite segment. MatPat uses the lore from multiple FNAF books to try and explain parts of the game that don't make sense. I'll try to make this as quick and painless for all of us as possible. In the books, children having tragic premature deaths and then being rebuilt as robots by their grieving fathers is something that happens a lot. Like, if I had a nickel for every time this plot line showed up, I'd have like 3 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened 3 times. In the original novel trilogy, the whole big twist of that was that Charlie, daughter of Henry Emily, died as a kid, and that her father put her back together by building robotic versions of her, each one representing a different stage of her growing up development. Then again, in Fazbear Frights, we have the character of Eleanor, who is strongly implied to have been built as a replacement daughter, as well as Dr. Telbert, who developed Remnant as a way to preserve his sick and dying daughter. And all of this is without me even going into the numerous stories where children get swapped out for robots and or Fazgoo, which, once it has your DNA, basically creates a clone of you. If that's the future of the franchise, we're going down some weird paths, my friends. Anyway, to summarize, there's evidence in the wider canon that FNAF 4's line...
what is that one show, Mythbusters? You know them? I want to see Mythbusters go through the actual possibilities of doing this IRL. Not in the way where it's like, yeah, to prove it wrong or whatever, but I mean, like, I wonder how interesting it would be to see a robot be representatives of, whatever, and then like the science and logic behind. Because we have science and logic genuinely looking through the possibilities of neurological links to the clouds and shit like that, right? Like, that's being explored. So it's just interesting, and it's interesting.
About the crying child being broken and needing to be put back together were meant to be much more literal than any of us first suspected. But we don't even have to go that far. Within Security Breach itself, there is plenty of evidence to suggest that Gregory isn't exactly what he seems. When Vanny spots you and starts to get closer, your vision gets a CRT effect. Basically, the horizontal lines that old TV monitors used to get. And it's worth remembering that since this is a first-person game, that is representing your vision. So why are your eyes suddenly behaving like cameras on the fritz? Unless, they are cameras on the fritz. Later in the game, once we defeat Roxanne Wolf, we can take out her eyes and upgrade Freddy. Our Fazwatch tells us that, quote, Roxy sees things differently than others. Sometimes she'll stare and talk to the other bots through walls. She's able to see things that others can't, which allows us to see collectibles like secret CDs. In a way, she has a sort of X-ray vision, which is why when you first install him into Freddy, his comment really stands out.
How are your new eyes?
I am having a hard time adjusting. You look different to me.
It's almost like he was seeing Gregory as a normal child, but now that he has these new eyes, he's able to see through Gregory's skin and reveal something that he wasn't expecting. Like, say, an animatronic endoskeleton. Also, Gregory can be inside
Why don't you just say that?
Freddy when he's inside the charging stations, which on its own feels weird. Like, I kinda expected you to hop out and leave him to charge, but nope, we pilot him inside of it and then sit there as he charges. Or could it be that those charging stations are as much for us as they are for him? Remember that secret den behind the daycare where we assumed Gregory's living? There's a strange amount of decommissioned and what appear to be salvaged security robots. Maybe for a kid who needs a robotic upgrade.
Why don't you just... I mean, what else is he gonna have to play around with?
The fact that there's no record of Gregory would also make sense. If he's an animatronic,
okay, hold on. That shit makes a little bit more sense. That one,
there wouldn't be records of him because he's not technically a human. It would also explain why Gregory has no parents. But maybe the biggest point of evidence comes from the very beginning of the game, where during the opening cutscene, we see Freddy glitch out. This sets him on a course of being good for the rest of the game. But what causes that glitch to happen in the first place?
Ooh, during the cutscene, he's looking like elsewhere at the other kids, and then he fucking looks at you, aka Gregory, and then he's like, well, that's fucking weird. And then he glitches out and he's like, hey, be buddies.
Place. Well, by going frame by frame, we can see that there's a security threat on the loose, and it looks to be a small child. What? It's Gregory. It has to be. Gregory is the threat here, a robot that poses a threat to Freddy's programming. But why? How? What would make sense about that? Well, to understand that connection, it's time to put a pin in Gregory and turn our attention over to Freddy. If you unlock the game's final secret ending, you end up going below the Pizzaplex, only to discover a former Freddy Fazbear location,
You mean
Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place.
it didn't end up being diner like you thought it was, and like, remember when he made such a big deal about how these these studios and game developers are so busy, there's no way they would make anything that isn't used later? Bro, it's not the diner.
If that name doesn't mean anything to you, it shouldn't really. Most of the restaurants in the series go unnamed. But while the name might not mean anything, the layout should be a familiar one. One large rectangular stage with lights on the trim and big speakers on either side, and a smaller semicircle stage right next to it. It's from FNAF 6, Pizzeria Simulator. Notice the stools that are placed right in front, the checkered floor. We even have purple striped tablecloths and blue, green, and...
I want you to know, even though I didn't say it, okay? When this showed up, I was like, I'm pretty sure Pizza Place had something like that. Like the Pizzeria Sim has something like that. I want you to know
rectangular
that.
stage with lights on the trim and 6 Pizzeria Simulator. Notice the stools that are placed right in front, the checkered floor. We even have purple striped tablecloths and blue, green, and red plates exactly like we saw in Pizzeria Simulator. As a refresher, this is the location that Henry lured all of the roaming animatronics to in order to burn them to the ground one final time.
Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting, friend.
And this is it, here. Seems like Henry's plan didn't quite work as expected. We still see pretty much everyone that he tried to torch away, and they're all alive and well and thriving underground. Springtrap is there, Molten Freddy is there as this big black blob, and if you look inside that blob, you can even see Baby. And heck, even the puppet kinda lessens the impact of that Savage Henry speech from FNAF 6, but whatever. Anyway, the reason I bring this up, outside of it giving me a chance to remind everyone that
Yeah, I love when fire doesn't actually kill anything. Isn't that fucking crazy?
I totally called something like this happening at the end of the last theory from a year ago, is that one character is notably absent here, Michael Afton, who we're reasonably sure was the guard working at the FNAF 6 location and the one who helped to burn it down.
And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be.
After being scooped, turning purple, and trying to undo his family's sins location by location, he...
Wait, is it... Okay, are we... I just want to know, right? It is confirmed that's Henry. This is Henry. Because if anybody tries to tell me it's not fucking Henry later, I'm gonna be... Please tell me it's Henry. Okay, thank God the voice is fucking Henry. Jesus Christ.
He went down with the shit.
If I have to wait 5 episodes to hear MatPat say, maybe this wasn't Henry all the time, I'd lose my shit.
And burned alongside his father and sister, which means that presumably he should be here somewhere, and yet he's not. Unless, of course, he's taken on a new form, say perhaps Glamrock Freddy. We know for a fact that Freddy's been down here based on some of the lines that he drops during
Wouldn't his fucking body be somewhere?
the finale.
I know what this is. I have been here before. She brought me here. I had no choice. Now I have a choice. I have changed. My friends are here. They are so angry, confused, but I can protect you.
So he's in a place where he can get possessed. We also hear that Freddy isn't acting like his normal self, saying,
I am not me.
And in yet another
Dude, why do I have so many feelings for Freddy? Why is Freddy so sweet? I want to hold Fred. I forget it. Freddy's so sweet, dude. He's so nice. He's just like, what the hell? Okay, anyways. A lot of that dialogue is supposed to show certain things, but I don't feel like that dialogue shows certain, like, the things that he's trying to show me. I feel like that dialogue is showing me other things. I just can't put my finger on it because I can't. But you know what I'm saying, though?
ending, the fire ending, Freddy is more than prepared to set the place ablaze, much like Michael Afton did to Fazbear Frights at the end of FNAF 3.
Hello.
Old habits die hard. And
I
nothing
love
says
Night at
that
the
clearer
Museum.
than the
That's
replica
so
of
good.
Mike's room from sister location that
hold on.
blaze, much like Michael Afton. The fire ending. Also, and in yet another ending, the fire ending, Freddy is more than prepared to set the place ablaze, much like Michael Afton did to Fazbear Frights at the end of FNAF 3. I guess old habits die hard.
Well,
and
I
nothing
won't
says that
assume
clearer
that.
than the replica of Mike's room from sister location that's hiding inside the Pizzaplex. Yeah, for those of you who don't know,
that is actually kind of crazy. That's, you know.
hidden inside the mall is the exact replica of Mike's living room from sister location, down to the TV, lamp, and basket of exotic butters. Exotic butters. Exotic. But here's the kicker.
My
Over
God!
on Mike's wall is a coded message, one that was solved through an incredible team effort from Dawko and the rest of the FNAF subreddit. It reads as follows, quote, "Break and mend, I built the breath. They hunt now, drawn to life. Not real, still me. And frit and fraught with thought and zest, and guessed no blunt woes. Dodge, duck, flash, shoot, crawl, run, crush."
Did he just pronounce jest as guest?
The vile band.
How's the timeline comprehension? Oh, we're not there. We're not even at ultimate timeline yet. The last timeline we did was I called bullshit on the whole fucking thing. Oh, what the hell? Sorry, my eyes are bad now. My brain is bad. My brain is bad as hell.
And cry not, try not, do not hold out hope. Your life, your aim will save those with soul. I feel like this is some sort of a poetry reading. Snaps, everyone. Snaps. Snaps. Yeah, man, cue the bongos. All right, basically, this is just a bunch of
Nothing.
fancy
It's not
talk,
important. It's
all
not important.
relating to Mike's personal journey. The first line is all about breaking and repairing things, and in doing that, creating new life. In other words, Ennard and Baby. The rest is all about his commitment to try and stop the evil animatronics and try to save any of them with a soul left in their bodies. Now, does the presence of this room and poem necessarily mean that Mike is Freddy? No, but I do think it's telling that we're reminded of Mike's commitment to save everyone inside of a room that you're required to find alone in the dark, i.e. without Glamrock Freddy hovering over your shoulders. Heck, during the finale, we even get this line from Glamrock Freddy.
My friends are here. They are so angry, confused.
He's talking about
I don't really feel like Mike is friends with the old, like, animatronics, though. You know what I mean?
Molten Freddy. The spirits.
Like, these spirits, I don't feel like they're friends. Like, if anything, he's just saving them. I don't feel like he would consider them friends. Yo, what's up, Phantasma?
Trapped inside of the blob. It's very possible that those were indeed his friends captured and killed back in the day. Maybe William himself struck back against the kids that had bullied his youngest son, and now some of their spirits are trapped below the surface as part of the blob in this abandoned restaurant. Or maybe that's why Gregory is so brutal to all of these animatronics at the end of each boss battle. They killed him back in 1983, and now it's his turn to show the bullies no mercy by launching a go-kart at their face and ripping out their eyeballs.
Yeah,
and meanwhile,
rip out
Freddy
their
is sad because
eyeballs.
they are quite literally his friends from when they were alive. But to me, honestly, the biggest connection points between Mike and Glamrock Freddy are thematic. Their narrative. Mike has been moving to location after location to try and undo his father's horrible work. This would just be a continuation of that story, as both Aftons return post-fire. And more importantly, it also completes the arc of the crying child and his older brother. Since accidentally killing his brother in FNAF 4, Michael's been trying to make amends. This would be quite literally their grand reunion. An older brother finally able to protect and defend his younger sibling in a way that he failed to earlier in their lives. This is also why Freddy's programming would glitch out after he encounters Gregory in the opening cutscene. The soul of Mike, buried deep in Freddy's code, comes through upon sensing his brother again. It
Yeah, but I don't think it would come up as a threat, though, because this one came up as a threat.
hotwires the
back,
system so that
Univores.
Michael Afton in the body of Freddy can defend his kid brother. And the Afton story doesn't stop there either. In part of the pizza plex,
And then where does Gregory, like, how does Gregory end up inside of Freddy?
we find a family dinner scene made up of decommissioned staff robots. A father, a mother that kind of looks like Ballora, a daughter with rosy cheeks and
Definitely
orange
baby,
pigtails,
yeah.
a son, and one with its head missing. The child whose head was bitten off in
Damn! All right, that one is definitely clear.
1983. This is very clearly the Afton family. There is no doubt about that. The story continues in this game. In fact, I expect that's why the Save Vanny ending here is so important. If you manage to find and complete all the Princess Quest arcade cabinets hidden throughout the Pizzaplex, you get an ending where we are able to save Vanny from the control of Glitch Trap. This is something that we predicted would be possible literally a year ago in a theory, but I bring this up not to pat myself on the back, but rather to call out the final moment of this ending, where we see Gregory, Freddy, and Vanny all sitting together on a hill. A hill that I should point out is oddly reminiscent of the FNAF 6 gravestone hill. It feels
Understandable,
meaningful,
agreed.
like all these characters have some sort of history. Why would Vanny be there otherwise? Unless this is meant to be the crying child, Michael, and maybe even Elizabeth, the
God. It's like, as the minute I start going along and I'm like, yeah, you right. It just, I don't know. I feel like he's pulling Elizabeth out of his ass.
Afton children, the three kids who literally had their lives stolen by the evil deeds of their father, finally reunited, finally able to share a moment of peace on this hill. After all, Vanessa does have green eyes and blonde hair, just like someone else that we know from the series, but that's probably a theory that's best
Vanessa's quite pretty. They made her.
save for another day. Long story short here, Gregory isn't just any kid. He's not just the crying child either. He's the rebuilt version of the crying child, an animatronic designed to fill the void left by the death of Afton's
Still hate it.
youngest son, literally put back together piece by piece. And Mike, meanwhile, is also back, glammed out this time, continuing to make amends for his past by reuniting with the brother that he accidentally killed as a kid and
Probably
protecting
a
him in
theory,
a way
yeah.
that he never
I
could
mean,
before. Which then
this is
leaves
all
us
a
with the
theory,
question,
right?
who's Vanny? How does she fit into all this? Why does she fit into all this? And why does Robot
That's because she's Tape Girl, actually, from a few games ago. That's why everybody else is losing their fucking mind, saying, well, she's just a new person, but then she doesn't fit into all of this. Why would she fit into it? I'm just saying.
Gregory glitch out each and every time she gets close? That, my theorists, will have to wait for the next episode, because this episode's running long, and honestly, I need more time to think through the answers. So in the meantime, theorists, remember, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss how all these clues fit together. You're not going to want to miss that next
Do
episode,
the other one.
mostly because, you know, if you do, the FNAF
Do the
lore
other
will
one.
no longer make any sense to you whatsoever. Plus, hitting the subscribe button's free, and let's be honest, at this game yourself to see
Oh
how it
my
all
God.
plays out. But for now, remember, it's all just a theory.
A game theory.
Thanks for
Oh my
watching.
God.
Gregory,
Okay.
do you see that bit of green spinach in your teeth? Have you ever heard of Fortnite, Gregory? You need to floss. You need to floss, Gregory.
What the fuck is he doing? What the fuck is this?
Well, this is embarrassing. I'm gonna let you guys have this one, and I'll see you next game. I always come back, and
Where isn't Help Wanted before this? Help Wanted. Why would you be playing as Vanessa? Help Wanted came out first, right? So what? In Help Wanted, a character named Vanessa was around? Because I'm pretty sure he only came up with that one during Security Breach.
you know the bit.
You are Vanessa, you get infected. Wait. In Help Wanted, you play as Vanessa. Glitch Trap invades you, so you can't be Tape Girl. I am Tape Girl and Vanessa. Tape Girl is Vanessa.
Did we just...
Tape Girl got infected. I got infected. How do you play as Vanessa? Don't you play as... You play as like another new person. Was it given a name of Vanessa? Because as far as I know, the first name of Vanessa only showed up during the virtual or the augmented reality game. But yeah, as far as I know, you're just a rando in Help Wanted. Lore has now become confusing. The lore has been confusing for a long fucking time now. Lore has become confusing since like FNAF 3.
When?
No, we did not, Superstar.
Vanessa was name dropped in the AR game.
Hello,
yeah,
Internet.
name dropped in
Welcome
the AR
to
game, but it's
Theory,
not.
the show that's proud to pick the nerdiest option
Not in the
available.
original
Anyone
Help
that picks
Wanted.
Monty Golf is just a nerd.
Woo! Gator Golf!
Joke's on you, Mark. Fazcam is OP. Plus, being a nerd allowed me to discover the secret daycare room and sister location room. So who's the nerd now? Me. It's still me. Last time we dove into the
That's
time travel
funny.
ball pit that is Five Nights at Freddy's security
Well, she
breach,
was a
I
tape
walked away
girl,
with
but
some,
unnamed
let's just call
during
them
Help Wanted.
divisive conclusions. Basically, it was an episode with 3 separate
Yeah,
theories packaged together.
I believe that, Shinobi. I genuinely sit down and I'm like, I have no reason not to believe that Vanessa's not also the tape girl.
We proposed one, that Glamrock
Currently,
Freddy
all right,
wasn't just your
currently.
average sentient animatronic, but rather was possessed by the spirit of Michael Afton doing everything he can to protect Gregory. This one was generally well received, so cool, let's keep going.
Really?
What?
That was generally well received. I saw a lot of like the Michael callbacks, but I mean, I wouldn't automatically assume that Michael's spirit is casually in Glamrock Freddy.
Why would Michael protect this random kid? Well, because 2, Gregory, whether literally or symbolically, is Michael's younger brother.
Symbolical,
FNAF 4's crying
understandable.
child. I started to lose people at this point, but it was really theory number 3 that threw us for a loop, because there's a good bit of evidence in both the game and in the history of the franchise to suggest that 3, Gregory is a robot, the crying child's consciousness literally transplanted into a robotic body sometime after he dies in the bite of 83. Oh, and there were a lot of strong opinions on that, with some people really liking the theory, and others, not so much. Suddenly I was flooded by people saying that I had rushed it out just to ride the trend, or that it was my dumbest theory ever, to which I say no. Deadpool is Ernest Hemingway is my dumbest theory ever.
What? Deadpool is Ernest Hemingway? Did he actually have one like that? All right. That's amazing. That's genuinely amazing. Now I know for sure MatPat is just having a great time pulling anything out of his butt. Great for him, actually.
Closely followed by Wario
That's
being
fucking
10
funny.
feet tall. Anyway, the outcry was so huge that I ended up trending on Twitter because of it. You know, didn't get much better from there. Weird side note, later in the same week, I was trending again because a group of performers juggled to the song Megalovania during an event for none other than the Pope. It only took 5 years, my friends, but it looks like that Steam code I gave him for Undertale finally paid off.
They called me a madman.
Anyway, like I said, a lot of
That's so
heated
funny.
opinions on the last one.
That's
With Twitter
actually
basically boiling down this 18-minute long 4,000-word theory down to this single image. So, yeah, thanks for not including.
I mean, to be fair, this image isn't even the hard part. Like, this is pretty, you know, like, it's good. It's good. I think this image was like, yeah, I fucking see it, sure. The robot part should have been the part where everybody was actually angry.
Including literally anything else from that last video. So before we get to the next thing.
Surprise, surprise. I mean, what are you thinking? There's 44 fucking episodes I just watched. This is the 45th episode, okay? I've already haven't watched any of your partner videos. Everybody already knows what the fuck you're talking about. All right? Shut the fuck up and get with it. Nobody else wants to make sure everybody gets your thing. This is what you decided to put as your visual.
Theory all about Vanessa, let me just address some of the biggest counterpoints I saw to the previous theory.
The theory of face value for me. Oh, the theory at face value for me means that somehow symbolically, for me, I choose symbolically, right? Gregory is Michael. I choose it symbolically. Absolutely. Like, that's a good theory for me. I like that shit. The whole, you know, the whole, like, robot thing, it's very, okay, we see a lot in the books that say children turn to robots, robots turn to children, blah, 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 blah. Have fun. I don't feel, like, I feel the understanding of why haters hate it so much that he only sat down. He sat down a lot with the books. And I understand that the books serve a purpose, that they are a reason, and they do help explain a lot of things. But I just don't, you know, as somebody who believes in reincarnation, it was the easiest for me to go, that's reincarnation. Like, it's just, it symbolically is there, right? I don't immediately go to all the crazy ass shit the book says, because now the book's talking about fucking goo. Do I need to start putting that into every other one of my theories about the game? No.
Because I'm convinced I'm right. Far from it, in fact. But because I think that the Gregory
That's
is
what I'm
crying
saying.
child theory currently fits the best with everything
Gregory. I meant Gregory as Michael's brother. Sorry, not Michael. That's what I meant, is crying child.
Is presented to us thus far. First, one of the key pieces of evidence last episode was this line right at the start of the game where Freddy says to Gregory,
I feel you are broken.
This, to me, was a clear
Okay, I
connection
don't need to
to
go
belief,
through
but
this, 'cause
thanks
I
to a
believe you.
secret room found in Sister Location, we know that psychic friend Fredbear is actually a plushie with a walkie-talkie inside of him. A walkie-talkie that allowed William Afton to
Just a reminder, you first said that it was TV cameras.
scare and manipulate his youngest son. Father of the year, ladies and gentlemen. Also know that throughout FNAF 4, all of William's lines use the color FFFF57, a bright golden yellow. Golden bunny, golden yellow makes sense. But the iconic final lines of "You're broken, I will put you back together" actually use a different color.
He's gonna pull this again, but he's not gonna talk about the girl?
A lighter yellow.
Or is he going to talk about the girl?
A 0. Back then, we never really came to a satisfying explanation. Was it a mistake? Was it another spirit? Was it maybe the puppet? But now, 7 years of
No, because you said that the other girl had the exact same one. You literally pulled out the other girl's colors and was like, this matches, and that's why this is circus, baby. Dun dun. Like, that's what you said. So what now? That her color's not the same?
investigation later, we know for sure someone else is indeed talking here. Someone who, in Sister Location, is mistaken for his dad. Someone who turns purple, just like his dad. Someone who can't die, like his dad. And someone who had the lines immediately prior apologizing to his kid brother, but when that didn't get through, decided to try comforting him through the voice of his best friend. It's Michael Afton, represented by a lighter color of yellow, a color that symbolically connects him back to his father. In short, we have Michael Afton in FNAF 4 saying the line,
doesn't sound...
And you're
Okay,
broken
whatever.
to his brother through the voice of a Fredbear plush. And here in Security Breach, if we're right about all this, we once again have him saying the same line. You're broken to his brother through the voice of another Freddy, this time Glamrock Freddy. I personally think it's a really cool narrative connection between all these games. But a lot of people were quick to point out that there's dialogue in the game files that was cut from the final release, where
We'll get there when we get there. We're literally already moving on from the color theory right the fuck now. What do you mean we'll get there?
Freddy says that Gregory is bleeding. Specifically, he says,
Your arm is cut badly.
And
I am detecting blood. You are injured.
This, for many people, disproved that Gregory's an animatronic.
Wait.
There's dialogue in the game files that was cut from the final release. Gregory's an animatronic, and I actually have two things to say about that. First, when I've used cut lines of dialogue in the past, the internet has in no uncertain terms told me that I can't. But now apparently it's okay. Kinda inconsistent there, guys, and honestly I think cutting it, regardless of the reason, shows that it didn't fit the final creative intent of the game. But
Matt, literally you go through the fucking, I mean, I just don't like when he like is trying to fight back, but he does all these things though, right? It's like,
anyway, if that's
if the unused cut files, I can understand the idea of, well, before I used unused game files, people were angry, but now people aren't angry. I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of get that. But then this idea of, okay, well, obviously that means it doesn't fit in to what is supposed to be conveyed. Well, then you have to accept every other single one of your theories where you use an uncut game file or an unused game file. You know what I mean? Is the way that it is. Like, accept every other thing that you've ever said to be wrong, right? And there we go.
Gregory, do you see that small vent on the floor? Have you ever heard of Among Us, Gregory? You need to vent. I know it will be hard for you to be sus, but I know you can do it, Gregory. I will just say we were both in security watching the cameras.
Oh my God.
It is partly true. Well, now, GGS easy.
That's kind of funny. That's genuinely funny. This is the actual voice. Yeah, I assumed so because it's Kellen Goff and it says Comic-Con London.
the case, then I gotta bring this line up. A cut line of dialogue discovered by GB Aura Recharged in the game files. This one is Freddy saying,
Gregory, I know why you're not in the customer database. I remember you from the...
And it cuts off. Obviously, it's vague. It's kept very intentionally vague. But it also shows that Gregory is special in a way that the other disappeared kids aren't. There's a reason he's not in the customer base. He's from somewhere specific that Freddy knows about. If I were to guess, I'd say like the underground pizzeria, but you know, that's just me hypothesizing. Adding to the Gregory is special idea is the fact that Chica knows his name. She calls it out in the middle of the pizzeria.
That is
Detail
weird,
for a kid
actually.
who supposedly has no records in
Yeah,
the system.
that's a real-
Secondly,
that's
and
a real
I
fucking
hate to be the
weird.
bearer of bad news here, but in the books, because everybody loves when I go back to that well, animatronic children do actually bleed. They can also cry and feel cold. Heck, they can even feel hungry and eat. And you don't even have to go to the books for that one. You can just see it with Chica's
Hi,
pizza
Spectre.
obsession in
Hello,
Security
hello.
Breach. So to tell me that a robot child can't bleed, yeah, I think you gotta really look at the franchise that we're talking about here. And for everyone who is confused about the timeline of crying
I feel like the franchise that we're talking about, you, like, I don't know. If,
child still being alive and the fact that he would be
I'll
older
wait
at
an
this
extra
point, that
5
wouldn't
videos.
actually be the case. Animatronic children in the books stay at whatever age they're built to be. Charlotte Emily actually had 4 separate versions of herself built, one for each stage of her life, so that way she could grow older, but she would just assume a new animatronic body each time. So crying child still being young would actually make more sense here. And to everyone saying, why would he say stuff like,
don't want to be crushed and twisted into a meat pretzel?
No, again, Charlotte in the books is shocked to learn her true nature in the final chapters. Her consciousness had been grafted onto a childhood toy while she was alive, and after her tragic death had been placed inside of a robot body to function as her memory. So for all she knew, she was just a normal human being just like anyone else. Is it dumb? Yeah, I'll say that it is. Is it complicated? Oh yeah, absolutely. But is it giving us insight into the rules that Scott and everyone who touches this universe operate by? Yes. It undeniably is. Lastly, for everyone who spammed my feed with pictures of sad white boys in striped shirts saying that you had found the crying child,
This is fucking funny.
thank you for your help uncovering the lore. I get the joke. All white boys with brown hair and striped shirts are apparently the crying child. But remember what series we're talking about here, friends.
I mean, to be fair, that is the strongest part of this theory I hold on to. Like, he pulled up that... I saw that graphic and I was like, no, that sounds about right. I would understand. I would agree. Right? The robot part is the one where I don't agree with.
Visual design details have always been
So
an
was Vanny
important part
Tape
of
Girl?
figuring these games
I mean, it doesn't... There's nothing to say if Vanny's not Tape Girl. So yeah, Vanny's Tape Girl.
out. Take a look at Baby. During Sister Location, she has green eyes, but
Vanny's the evil version of Vanessa, and Vanessa can definitely be Tape Girl.
when you play her minigame, she has blue ones. At least until she kills Elizabeth Afton, who, lo and behold, had green eyes. Superficial design features like this.
What, Axel? What? Really? Okay, show me the fucking money where Scott said this bitch ain't Tape Girl, right? Show me the fucking money.
Help us to connect the dots. Are they the be-all and end-all of evidence? No, but they do help support an argument. So a little brown-haired boy in shorts with a shirt and 2 stripes seems sus.
Have you ever heard of Among Us, Gregory?
Speaking
Oh my
of
God.
eyes, for all the complaints about the last episode, no one seemed to have any answers to what I see as the 2 strongest pieces of physical evidence here. Why does Gregory look different when Freddy gets Roxy's X-ray eyes?
You look different to me.
And secondly, why does Gregory's vision glitch when he sees...
Hold on, I'm reading something. Game Theorist by Dream of a Game. Read more. I had some thoughts about Vanessa and Tape Girl. Let's see. Where's the if part? We can't play as Tape Girl. Tape Girl herself runs a fragmentation code seemingly before she gets fully taken over. I see as far as Tape Girl theories go, a lot of them seem to be along the vein of she is Vanessa or she is not. If she is Vanessa, then FNAF VR is a story of her being taken over by Glitch Trap, and we're a passive observer to her corruption that leads up into her role as the main antagonist of Security Breach. As far as I can tell, this has been a prevailing theory for a long time, largely as a matter of simplification. Tape Girl is corrupted by Glitch Trap, Vanessa is corrupted by Glitch Trap, therefore they are the same. However, I think there are also pretty glaring holes in this theory, the most obvious being that Glitch Trap seemingly didn't escape through Tape Girl. Obviously, he had influence, but whatever it was that was his main goal didn't seem to be accomplished because of Tape Girl's efforts. I mean, as far as I know, at the end of it, Tape Girl ended up switching ideas, right? Switching ideas and ended up saying to them, like, yeah, go bring the tapes over and put them together. No? This is why we have to collect the tapes, and we have to be the one to reverse the effects of Tape Girl's fragmentation algorithm. Understandable. I can accept that. Of course, there's an argument that can be made that Glitch Trap did escape, and that the existence of the Tape Girl tapes were just to replicate that process. But that still makes it so that multiple people end up being taken over by Glitch Trap, considering all the endings being that of the player being taken over. I can still believe that Glitch Trap can take other multiple people and their forms, but I still am sitting, I'm still sitting on this idea. But that still makes it so that multiple people end up being taken over. Yeah. I personally think that the idea of Glitch Trap influencing multiple people is pretty undeniable, right? Definitely undeniable. We obviously see Jeremy and Tape Girl being affected by Glitch Trap, and whether the player is Vanessa or if the player isn't anyone important at all, we clearly also end up being taken over. I don't think there's any way to dodge the bullet of Glitch Trap has influenced multiple people, even if Vanessa seems to be our main culprit. Yes, I see. The way I see it, if Tape Girl is Vanessa, then FNAF VR is a demonstration. We hear about Jeremy being affected, Tape Girl gets taken over, and proceeds to become Vanny, and we're just another in the list of hapless developers that are taken under Glitch Trap's control. We, the player, don't have any specific meaning. Okay. If Tape Girl isn't Vanessa, though, but is someone else that gets corrupted first before Glitch Trap actually escapes through Vanessa, then the multiple corruptions that exist as a concept in VR remains. But now our actions in VR retain a degree of significance. Collecting the tapes isn't just about getting influenced by the glitch. but perhaps giving him a physical avenue of escape that he couldn't manage without Jeremy and Tape Girl. This explains why Vanny seems to be quote-unquote elevated to a specific level of importance over the other people that might have been influenced by Glitchtrap. She's the one that actually provided him a means of physical escape, and if Patient 46 is Tape Girl, that continues that narrative thread of multiple corruptions and multiple people influenced by Afton, which would give her plus Patient 46 meaning in their appearance in Security Breach. Okay. That didn't really say a lot for me. For me, yeah. That didn't really say too much for me. Either way, they're smashable. So TLDR is more narratively sound if Vanessa isn't Tape Girl. It seems that it's more narratively important. I wouldn't say that it's, I mean, as sound as it can be in a game and series like this, right? I think it depends on what theory you want to approach and take. Right? Because some theories will still be disliked by other theorists. This is just like the conversation we had earlier. Some theories will still be not liked by other theorists, but we cannot deny that my theory of Vanessa and Tape Girl being the same wasn't a theory. Okay? So what I think is really, unless something is out here, which so far I'm looking, let's see, Vanessa, Tape Girl. Is Vanessa Tape Girl FNAF? There's a lot of Reddit things out here. Is Tape Girl supposed to be a Vanessa? And then, you know what? Something else. I think in the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.fandom.com, somebody said that Tape Girl's real name seems to either be Tanya or Gabrielle. And so I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it's gonna come later. And if it comes later, and I accept that theory, then sure. You know what I mean? I feel like that makes sense. But let's see, February 13th, 2023, somebody else made a video that said why Tape Girl should have been Vanny. What it seems like is it's really nothing really disproves it so far. I feel like there's a couple things besides the Tape Girl's real name. Maybe that will completely disprove it. Maybe I'm like, okay, that theory of Tape Girl being straight up Tanya or Gabrielle, like that's their name, then I will continue with that one. Then it will be like, yeah, obviously that conflicts with her being Vanessa. Right. But we'll see. I guess we'll come up and see that.
Vanny. Why does he have such a weird visual reaction to her and to literally no
Tape Girl and
other
Vanessa also
character
just
in the
don't
game?
have the same voice. That's fair. That's fair that Tape Girl and Vanessa just don't have the same voice. But I mean, the other theories on top of that, I don't know how accurate the voices are. Like, we have multiple changing names, right? Like, there's been 4 different Jeremys in this series. So them having separate voices could be, for me, seems like a basic oversight if they really want it to be. Or if it's like, no, we don't have oversights, then it's like, okay, then why is there like 9 different Jeremys? Why did you guys decide that? For funsies? You know what I mean?
High-pitched ringing sound as Vanny skips and gets closer.
Vanessa, Vanny's voice changed between the trailers and game.
It seems to be a disruptor that makes her invisible to animatronics.
So, I mean, it's not impossible. People can get recasted. Apparently, it did change between trailers and games. I'm seeing right now the main thing that says, like, oh, this is, the only one of the things that's like, yeah, Tape Girl isn't Vanessa because it seems like Tape Girl's name is supposed to be something else. Right. Yeah, if somebody is saying that stuff, then I'm like, all right, understandable. I can backtrack my theory.
with older model eyes. In the fire ending, Freddy, who couldn't see her at any point in the game, explicitly says,
I can see you now. I have new eyes.
I mean, this is exactly how the much-hated sound illusion discs from the books work, creating a high-frequency sound to make people and robots invisible and or look differently, but I'm already fighting a losing battle over here, so I'm just gonna gloss over that one. Anyway, to me, it reads as Gregory's robotic eyes being disrupted. I mean, why have CRT lines over the screen and not some other type of filter to show that his vision is getting disrupted? In fact, why have the same CRT lines as the security cameras all around the Pizzaplex? But there's one final piece of evidence I'd like to talk about to help solidify that previous theory before we move on, and that is the screenshot here of the final scene from the Savior ending, where you rescue Vanny from the controller glitch trap. And I use quotation marks here because there aren't any official sources giving names to the various endings. In the game files, they're just labeled as S1, S2, and S3 based on the number of stars that you get for them. It is worth noting, though, that this is the only 3-star ending that currently exists, which seems to imply that it has some level of importance to it. But here we see our 3 main characters, Gregory, Freddy, and Vanessa, all sitting on a hill, which, as I pointed out last time, is very similar to the FNAF 6
There's even another interesting thing. What the hell? Something else says here too. I mean, again, these are all theories. Sorry, I'm still back on the Vanny and wait, what? Never mind.
Gravestone Hill. But that's not what's important here. What I want to point out is the ice cream. Gregory is holding a golden Freddy-shaped ice cream with part of its head bitten off. If Gregory is not meant to parallel back to the crying child in any way, shape, or form, then this detail is just mean and irresponsible. This ice cream is the crying child's story coming full circle. He was terrified of animatronics and ended up being bitten by the golden Freddy spring suit, but now he's the one sitting on a hill taking a big old bite out of Golden Freddy. That is not me reading too much into this. That is me lightly interpreting a very clear image that was put directly into this game by the designers. It is barely even subtle. And despite him wearing a blue shirt in most of the endings, here his shirt...
Okay. I found it. Okay, here it is. I went on to one of the FNAF theories subreddits. It says, Vanny is the tape girl. I scrolled down. Somebody said they confirmed that Vanny is who you play as in the other one, in Help Wanted. And so people were like, they did. When? And then it says with the therapy CDs, Insecurity Breach. So what it seems like is Insecurity Breach, we do play, like, well, we get to find out these therapy CDs, which I know that he mentioned last time, right? And in that, I suppose that's where we get to find out that we were playing as Vanny the entire time in Help Wanted.
Is colored.
So we did it. We were able to disprove the theory. Bless. Oh God. It took a million years. Jesus.
Purple, just like his father's signature color.
I'm still surprised that he didn't mention anything about that. That he didn't like consider that Vanny was Tape Girl at all. He didn't like mention, of all the things that he's mentioned and like the 9 fucking episodes of books. How did you not even like it? I looked at the theory. It seems like a lot of people believe in the theory that Vanny and the Tape Girl are the same, but he didn't even at least glance over it, which is interesting.
Couple that with literally everything else, his lack of records, the fact that he goes into the charging station. So I stand by my theory that Gregory is an animatronic of the crying child.
No, you
is it a
play
perfect
as
answer?
Vanny.
No. Do I love the fact that it complicates the lore even more? No. But does it answer the most questions with the evidence that we have? I believe it does.
From
it's a heck of a lot better than
Phasgoo.
But now, 4 pages into this episode, let's actually stop to talk about Vanessa, shall we? Last episode, I made a passing statement about how this final image felt to me like the 3 Afton children getting reunited. Crying Child, Michael, and Elizabeth Afton, William's daughter that done got scooped by Baby back in sister location. It's a scene that, to me, feels like the narrative finally giving them a sense of closure after they quite literally die as a result of their...
I genuinely feel like every single video he has, he's like, yeah, closure at the end of all the games. No more. That's it. At the end of the fucking games. No more. Final.
their dad's evil deeds. Last time I briefly made mention of Vanessa's blonde hair and green eyes, which is the same as Elizabeth. And here, in this ending, we actually see 2 scenes of her wearing the signature Afton purple. Even the ice cream cone, as opposed to something like Gregory's novelty pop, is a
I know,
potential callback
Universe.
to her
We kind of
death,
mentioned
where
that.
Baby delivered an ice cream
I know
cone
everybody's
to her
looking through it
before
right now.
she did the scoop. And when you look at the connections between these 2 characters, it's more than just a couple of visual similarities. The biggest secret in Security Breach right now is a series of 16 retro CDs, invisible collectibles that only Freddy can see, hidden in every obscure corner of the game's map. Then, to play these things, you actually need to have also found the secret sister location room that we talked about last time. Now, these CDs are,
FNAF's
they're
version of
problematic.
closure
They
is
open
the
up a
same as
whole...
a revolving doors.
That's so funny, Red. It's true. It's true. That's very interesting. This is so cool, right? I want you to know, PlayStation, okay? PS, the play, is that what PS stands for? PlayStation? Is that what it is? Flugel, good night, rest well. Mwah. The PS conference specifically, cut that out, okay? The PS conference specifically spoke to me and was like, hey, by the way, we're coming out with a new fucking FNAF thing, all right? So start your FNAF day to this day, okay? Do that. We're coming out with a bunch of FNAF things. So while we're focusing on all this, you guys, all your community could be rolling around doing all this. The PS conference, okay? The teaser trailer, all that, and Lilybelle doing FNAF lore. Was this coming in together pretty? Is coincidence? I think not.
Whole separate can of worms. They're recordings of therapy sessions following 2 separate individuals, patient 46 and patient 71. The exact identity of patient 46 is a theory for next time that will absolutely launch us into yet another flame war, but early in patient 71's tapes, we learned that it's actually Vanessa speaking.
Hello, Vanessa. How are you feeling today?
These are recordings from therapy sessions that Vanessa had while she was at the job for the FNAF AR game's special delivery. She mentions speaking to a man named Lewis on several occasions, and we discover that she's also buying fake fur, both of which are things that we see in emails from FNAF AR. By the last of Vanessa's recordings, she's leaving that job for a new job somewhere else, most likely the job of security guard here in Security Breach.
I'm needed somewhere else now.
But let's dive into the good stuff, shall we? In Vanessa's second tape, we learn about a custody battle that happened between her parents. Her dad won using manipulative tactics, forcing his daughter to falsely testify.
Your dad made you follow instructions, didn't he? I'm talking about the custody battle between your mum and your dad. Your dad didn't play fair, did he? He used to make your mum look bad in court.
After losing custody of her daughter, Vanessa's mother, well, here's what the tape does.
I know your mum after she lost the custody case.
Whoa!
It glitches, implying that her mother ended her own life, which would explain why Mrs. Afton is
that it? The first thing I thought was, I know your mom went on a murder spree. I'm like, that's the first thing I would have thought. But okay.
missing from all the games, and why she may have wound up being rebuilt as the motherly Ballora in sister location.
But that's the idea if Vanessa is, right? That's like if Vanessa is supposed to represent whatever the girl's name is that I've forgotten because we have a million names that we've gone through today already. Right?
About that, wouldn't you know it, sings about her inescapable depression now that the walls of her house are empty.
All I see is an empty room. No
Stop playing the song! It's creepy! Elizabeth,
We also
thank
hear
you.
Vanessa lines like this.
Oh, you like those? Apparently, the janitor on this floor has a garden and has been putting bouquets in the offices here for years.
We
Vanessa
love
likes
flowers.
flowers. A small detail, but you know me, small details can often
We
be
love
the biggest
flowers.
evidence. Who else do we know in the series that has an affinity for flowers? Well, think back to FNAF 4. Remember this random empty bedroom with a huge portrait of a flower on the wall? It's Elizabeth's room before she got scooped. Then you have Vanessa lines like this.
This is the only time we see flowers in the entire game. This really is a depressing fucking game then, Jesus.
Lots of people know more than I do. Sometimes I need to listen.
Now, this might be a stretch, but I believe it's referring to when Elizabeth got scooped by Baby. Her dad had repeatedly
could
and
be a stretch.
explicitly warned
Sure.
her not to go near Baby,
Lily
but
loves
she
flowers.
didn't listen.
I love
And in doing so,
flowers.
she ended up getting herself trapped inside the animatronic.
Don't tell Daddy that I'm here.
Just a reminder, if you ever get me flowers, to anybody else out there, if you ever get me flowers, you have to cut and put them in a vase for me. You have to cut the stems off and put them in a fucking vase for me, okay? Don't just give me the bouquet of flowers, all right? You gotta do it. You gotta do it. That's just giving me work otherwise. And then if you leave it overnight, I will cry.
Watch a show too. I don't know why he would.
Were there flowers in the hospital bed? I think there were.
Vanessa
I'm pretty
also
sure there
says
were,
in her tapes
Antonio.
that she doesn't
Flower
like dark
pussy.
basements.
I have a craft space in my basement. Maybe
Thank
I could
you,
come up with
I-
something you could learn.
I'm Lilybelle, it's true. Me rebrands as an actual fucking flower. That's it. Done.
Dark basements.
I have a craft space in my basement. Maybe I could come up with something you could learn to do. I don't like dark basements.
It's another line that seems to be pointing us in the direction of Baby, who is trapped underground for
Hello? Hello? Wait a minute. Roxy's just out there elsewhere? Hold on.
Space in my basement. Maybe I could come up with something
Ooh, creepy. Creepy.
you could
Okay.
learn to do. I don't like dark basements.
It's another line that seems to be pointing us in the direction of Baby, who is trapped underground for years in Circus Baby's entertainment and rentals, looking for a way back to the surface.
I've been out before, but they always put me back. They always put us back inside. There's nowhere for us to hide here. There is nowhere to go.
And to put one final nail in this coffin, right back in the second CD, we actually learn the name of Vanessa's father.
I feel like I know your dad.
If Lily
too.
is a flower,
Bill.
where are the milk, eggs and sugar cores? I think we are forgetting about her cake.
My cake right here. Shit, I don't know if you were able to hear that. Did you guys hear that? Yeah? Did you hear that? Nice!
Right?
Bill is short for William. That's just the game trolling us with a coincidence, right? Wrong. You see, going back to FNAF AR, we learned that Vanessa's line
Wait, what?
Dad too. Bill. Right?
Bill is short for William. That's just the game trolling us with a coincidence, right? Wrong. You see, going back to FNAF AR, we learned that Vanessa's last name begins with an A.
What? Are you okay? Is everybody else okay? Is there turbulence? It doesn't show on my end.
From there, we can connect the dots. Bill A, William Afton.
My man, you can't go to an airline mascot's whole story and be like, there's turbulence. I literally used that term. That's so fucking funny.
But didn't Baby burn at the end of FNAF 6? Well, yeah, she did, but you see how effective that was.
How are you not dead? I mean, to be fair, the thought that burning him is going to work is stupid because people have tried to burn him to death
obviously.
no less than 3 times in this franchise. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work.
But here's the kicker. At the end of the game, we meet the Blob, a weird tentacle monster made up of all the original members of the
Baby's
series.
in there.
FNAF 1's Chica and Bonnie, FNAF 2's Mangle, Sister Location's Funtime Freddy, a random endoskeleton crawling out of the bottom, the puppet mask without tears, I might
Isn't
point out,
Candy
and
in there?
Baby's face. Now, don't
Oh, it's not
get
Candy,
me started
sorry,
on
Baby.
this being Baby's original face and not Scrap Baby's updated look where she came back to FNAF 6 in. I have words about that. Anyway, look at them all.
I mean, yeah, the originals are there too, so why couldn't original Baby be there? I mean, fucking Puppet without his tears is there, so it's weird, right?
Here on screen. You notice anything strange? Most of the animatronics' eyes are lit up. Funtime Freddy, Chica, Mangle, even this random endoskeleton at the bottom. But now take a look back at Baby's mask. The eyes are blacked out. So although the Blob has absorbed Baby's body during the burning down of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place, her spirit, the spirit of Elizabeth
Baby was
Afton,
Scrap
is
Baby
no
before
longer
she
present.
burned? Okay, but now my question is, if they have the original, like, Funtime Freddy or the original Freddy, where were they when they burned? They didn't burn? What did they look like when they were burning?
It is unaccounted for. It is on the loose, and as such, potentially at large within the game. Is she, in some way, Vanessa? And if so, how? The truth is, I don't know. This game has got my brain in so many knots, I might as well be a sailboat. I don't think there's any evidence to support
That's
any
a good
conclusion at this point in time. But I do know that this is what the evidence is heavily pointing us towards. The design similarities, the missing spirit, the purple color, the ice cream, the voice lines, the personality traits, and again, the narrative theme of 3 Afton kids reuniting and moving on after a traumatic past. It gives everyone this nice full circle ending, even if it's only meant to be symbolic. And the
Also, even if you only you wanted it to be like that specifically,
Green really does feel like it's the end, finally, for these three characters.
Finally, for these three characters, it's the end. Finally.
Gives everyone this nice full circle ending, even if it's only meant to be symbolic. And the screen really does feel like it's the end, finally, for these three characters.
The end, finally, for these three characters.
Maybe next time we'll finally see some new faces. So enough about them, we're moving past those three. There's still other mysteries that we have to solve here. What happened to Glamrock Bonnie? Who is Patient 46 and why are they here? What's the deal with that room full of post-it notes? Yeah, you forgot about that one, didn't you? It's important. And did you happen to notice the other missing animatronic from this game? Because I certainly did, and I think they might be hiding in plain sight. So next time we get to cover some mysteries that don't require us talking about dead characters getting rebuilt into robots. Scratch that. We're talking about William Afton. That's kind of unavoidable at this point. Oh, this franchise is so ridiculous. Anyway, next time we're gonna sweep up a few other mysteries as we try to make more sense out of the game that quite literally threw everything against the wall to see what would stick. Speaking of things sticking on walls, why don't you spice up your decor with some 80s-tastic magnetic posters that stick on your walls with today's sponsored displate. Who needs a time?
Oh, I thought they had one specifically. Okay, alrighty. Alrighty. You guys, I do thank you so much for following with me through the FNAF lore. We did it. We got to the 40s, okay? It's 40. We're currently on 45. We have until 57, all right? And then I think we just, what is this? This is the new one? Oh, we've got some new, what is this? Hold on. Oh, we've got some new stuff. Yeah, we've got some new trailers that we're going to watch together. Okay. Which was rougher, FNAF lore or Christian? Christian, for sure. Christian, for sure. Yeah, we're going to get into it hopefully all through tomorrow. But for now, we're going to continue our Valorant training arc. Thank you very much to everybody who's following in. Okay. Let me use the bathroom real quick. Yeah, it's Valorant training our time. Let me use the bathroom real quick and I will be right back for it. Use the bathroom. Go get your water. Go get your snacks. Stand up. Look at something that's not on a screen.